Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheese heads go pack go. Ain't show with no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good luck. Only thing I will.
Good evening and welcome into Lombardi's Legends live NFL draft party. And folks, I am Wags, and we'll have Dane, my podcast partner, joining me here a little bit later on. But we are so excited. Big night for the Packers tonight. So start hitting up your predictions in the chat, and we'll be getting to the chat for anybody that wants to join the live stream and be part of the draft party and actually be on video so we can see your reactions as these picks come in. Feel free to hit us up. I'll be putting the link to our channel in here shortly. And folks, I think the big story for tonight is definitely, will the Packers choose a receiver in the first round for the first time in who knows how long? It's been a long time for the Packers to take a wide receiver in the first round. So we've got plenty of time as of right now for the Packers picks to come in, but we're going to keep a ticker going here down at the bottom. In fact, let me go ahead and turn that on with our consensus top players, top 20, and we'll be updating that through the night with whoever is both still available and then also the picks as they come in. So if you don't have access to the draft live, you can get that updates as we go. Also, for those of us that are watching the draft, feel free to keep us open, and we'll be popping in and out periodically with live chat, but as well as depending on the Packers picks upcoming. We might have some comments on the NFC North picks as they come in as well. So we certainly want to get all of your reactions in both the chat and if you do decide to join the live stream as well. So folks, I think for right now, I am going to just keep this ticker up. And like I said, turn the mic off and pop on periodically. And really looking forward. This is a little bit of experiment for us, but really looking forward to the draft here live tonight. So again, I'm Wags with Lombardi's Legends. So feel free, folks, to make your predictions on the picks as the Packers come in. If it looks like there's any trades that could be available, lots of rumors out there later this afternoon that potentially the Packers could be looking to package those two picks that they have, number 22 and number 28, move up into the first round and get a higher selection. So is there someone that they really are targeting that they feel like they need to move up to get? There's a lot of smoke out there, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be a long night. So I am going to go ahead and turn the mic off and wait and see if we get some more folks to join us. So thanks for anybody that is watching. And again, I'm going to pop in the video here. If anybody wants to join the live stream and join into this Packer draft party, feel free to do that. I'm happy to have you on here and be able to join in on the show. So I'm going to throw that in here as well. So folks, I'm just going to go ahead and mute myself for a little bit. Thanks so much.
What up?
All right, we've got Dane. Dane, welcome into the Packer draft party.
How's it going?
How you doing tonight, man? You excited for the picks that are going to be coming in?
Got a little feedback here. Can you hear me okay?
I can sure hear you okay. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, you sound great. How's it going, man? I'm just catching up on the latest. Derek Stingley Jr. goes number 4 overall. He's a heck of a football player, but the one I'm most noticing right now, of course, is NFC North guy, Aiden Hutchinson, the edge from Michigan. That guy's an absolute beast. He doesn't have to go far going from Ann Arbor over to Detroit. Really good selection from the Detroit Lions. I hate to admit it. I love seeing the Lions be bad. They seem to be cooking with something with this new coach, though. So something to just kind of keep an eye on. But just because you do all right, the prognosticators say it's okay in draft day doesn't mean it translates to the field. But pass the eye test. We're Badger fans too. We've seen this kid play. The dude can ball. Good thing we have David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Yash Nyman, and others to keep Aaron Rodgers' jersey clean this season.
For sure. And Dane, I think when you talk about the Lions and their picks, they definitely have some young talent on that roster. There's no doubt about it. When you're drafting so high year after year, it's bound to happen eventually, but you do have to give them credit. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's 1 year. And Dan Campbell got those players, I think, to buy in. They still were not a very good team last year. Does that translate? So Lee is common joining us on live stream. Made the same comment earlier. Detroit gets Aiden Hutchinson, who was the consensus number 1 pick. I don't think there was a unanimous number 1 pick in this draft. So not a shocker that he didn't go first. But Detroit, I think, wasting no time to jump in there and take Aiden Hutchinson at number 2. There's no doubt about that.
Wags, it looks like the Jets have a pick in. They could go wide receiver here. They're a team that was active trying to get Hill from Kansas City. And it looks like the pick is in, and they went with a cornerback. They went with Gardner from Cincinnati. So wide receivers still on the board, folks, if you're doing wide receiver watch as a Packers fan.
Yeah, and this draft so far, I'm kind of live tweeting here as we go too.
Love it.
Has not been chalk. I guess we shouldn't be surprised though, should we, Dane, considering that there wasn't necessarily that consensus amongst the top picks. Derek Stingley Jr., I think when we did our preview the other day, I mean, he's been all over the board. It seemed like he might be slipping. Very talented. I said he might be the generational talent in this draft, has had some injuries. Houston obviously liked him, and they went up and snagged him. So I didn't think there was any way that the Packers, A, were going to be in on Derek Stingley Jr., B, that he would fall far enough, and C, that he would be a guy they were targeting, considering some of the other positional needs. However, just interesting to see how things have kind of moved around as the first few picks have come in.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. So, Wags, question for you here. Do you see the Packers trading up tonight? There's been a lot of talk about the Houston Texans, the Falcons. There's been rumors the Falcons have their eye on Jordan Love, for instance. There's a lot of talk right now. I'm kind of curious what your take is on, do you see the Packers staying put? Goody seems to be aggressive in these drafts and trading picks and moving up at different times so far in his tenure in Green Bay. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, in some ways I'd be surprised, right? He's done some move ups, but how far does he want to move up to potentially target the player they need or that they would like to take? That said, considering that they have 2 first, 2 seconds, and a few extra in the 4th and 5th round as well, they certainly have the draft capital to be very aggressive if they would really like to target a certain player early in this draft. So it could go multiple different directions. I'm ready for any scenario here tonight, Dane. I know you were talking and mentioning before we jumped on that there was some rumors that the Packers were interested in trading up. It's hard to believe anything that gets thrown out there on draft night until it actually happens. But I'm curious what you think. Is that a potential possibility in your mind?
Yeah, I think anything's possible with the Packers right now. This is a draft where they're in a unusual position. I can't remember the last time the Packers had 2 first-round picks. Can you? Like, I really don't remember the last time the Packers had 2 first-round picks.
It
And
must have been when they took Clay Matthews and BJ Raji.
and they traded up to get Matthews, if you remember. They had to trade
Well,
back into the first, right?
hold on, just a couple of years ago, with I'm sorry,
Savage.
yeah, Savage, yeah.
Right? Yeah, you're right. So that was
But
the
it's
last
rare.
time.
Yeah, it's certainly rare.
It's not often. So that's a good reminder, though. So can the Packers land guys that they're looking for, or are they targeting somebody, right? I mean, if the deal works for them, Wags, then I think they definitely move up. And folks, mind you, right now we're live. We're going to be live streaming throughout the night. We might not be on here the entire draft, but we're definitely going to be here on here for Packer picks and other things. But if you want to join this live stream, and I mean actually join us live tonight right here on the live stream, you're welcome to. I saw Wags drop the link in the comment section. We'll probably do that a few times throughout this evening. But if you want to jump on live with us, give us your take, feel free to do so anytime. It's an open invite. This is our Lombardi's Legends podcast, Green Bay Packer NFL draft party. We're having a lot of fun here. I know y'all love the draft. So if you want to join us live on here, feel free to do so. We'd love to see your face.
Yeah, and I just dropped the link in the chat again. We'll keep dropping that in there. And folks, if you do join, just so you know, you will be on video.
Live.
We'll add you. So we do ask that unless we can see you signaling, we'll probably keep your mics muted, but definitely would love to have anyone out there watching us join the party. You're more than welcome to jump in. We know the Packers picks aren't coming up for a bit yet, but absolutely. So Dane, any other thoughts just early on this draft? I mean, it's still pretty early. I'm pretty surprised by number 4 as well, though, that we've got 2 cornerbacks now off the board in the top 4. So we'll see if that impacts or if things kind of just even itself out as far as where we expected the players that will go in the top 15. Maybe it's just in a different order. So will there be some guys that start to fall? I think we'll get a better idea here as we round out the top 10 selections.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm happy to see cornerbacks off the board because that's a position of strength for the Packers going into this season. So I know there's a long way to go, right? There's 18 more picks or so, 17 more picks before the Packers go. But anytime those need positions are not going off the board early, I think that's great. I know there's been some talk, folks, of quarterback maybe not going early, but I just, my gut tells me at least one quarterback's going to go in the top 15. This isn't a deep year for quarterback, but wouldn't be surprised. A quarterback needy team, it's such a premium position. Somebody's going to probably go get their guy. Giants picks in right now. Bear with us. I see a guy really excited to be on that screen right now. If anybody's watching. Sam Prince, awesome. He's stoked to be there. Make a wish. Good for him. Wish he was a Packer fan, though.
And Dane, while we're waiting for that pick, just to finish your thought, we talked, is Jordan Love a potential trade guy? I know you didn't necessarily think he would be when we talked about that, a month or two ago after Rodgers announced he was returning. But it was mentioned out there today. Is that a potential outcome here on the draft?
I think it is, right? Especially if they're trying to trade up, right? They could use that as capital. I look at Houston right away. 13. If the Packers love somebody at 13, they could use Jordan Love. Houston does not have a quarterback right now. And here comes the pick for the Giants. Would they select another defensive end, Thibodeau, Kayvon Thibodeau? So, Wags, this is a revelation. All of a sudden, we're 5 picks in, no wide receivers yet. Mitch Slowick comments, as long as no runs on wide receiver, please, until after 22. I'm still not convinced the Packers take a wide receiver in the first round. Maybe that's considered blasphemy for Packers fans. But that being said, we're starting to see the makings of, Wags. We talked about it in our wide receiver preview. There's a lot of wide receivers. It's a deep group, but there's not that one guy right now that's like the guy, right? So maybe some of these other teams are seeing the same things that we talked about, and a couple of these guys could be interchangeable depending on when you're drafting. Now, a lot of wide receiver needy teams are coming between right now and the Packers pick. But that being said, I'm encouraged that we're 5 picks in, no wide receivers off the boards, and no offensive tackles off the board, which could be another strong position, and no safeties off the board, which I think is a position the Packers could also covet in this draft.
Yeah, and Kayvon Thibodeau was consensus top 3 pick, so no surprise that he wouldn't fall out of the top 5. And that's the thing here. We can start getting excited. It's way too early to know about wide receivers falling. I think once we get around the 10 to 13 or 14 range is when we'll have a better idea of where these receivers might start slotting. If there's any receivers that come off the board, I would say in the next 3 picks, I think it would maybe not be the best harbinger of a receiver or 2 dropping to the Packers that they're looking at or targeting. But if we get into the 10s to teens and there's no wide receivers taken, I don't think that's likely, but it's just as likely that we could get wide receivers taken, 4 or 5 of them between picks 8 and 18. So it's just kind of going to depend. We've got to stay patient here and just continue to watch and see how these things keep falling, and perhaps it will make it more likely the Packers can get aggressive to trade up if some of the later we go with this as well.
Wags, do you think Garrett Wilson, wide out from Ohio State's the first wide receiver off the board, or could you see somebody else at that position group potentially being the first guy to go? Even somebody like a Jamison Williams, who, would have probably been the consensus one if the ACL injury hadn't occurred.
That's so hard to say. It just depends on each front office is going to be unique in what they value and how they want to approach this draft. Yeah. If you were to ask me, I would probably say Jamison Williams is the guy that's most likely, if someone just falls in love with his talent, to jump in there and say, you know what, we're going to take this guy. Kind of like a Derek Stingley Jr. The talent is just perhaps in that top tier level of generational talent. I don't know if he's quite as high as some of the top guys in past drafts, especially looking at the last few years. But if you're looking for pure upside with this wide receiver group, it might make sense to target those players in that fashion. I think there's some really good players in this group, but Jamison Williams to me is the one that has the most pure upside.
That's good insight. And folks, again, we are live streaming. This is our Packer NFL draft party. We're doing it live. You can join us live right now on this live stream if you'd like to. We've got it in our comment section. We'd love to have you jump on, join us, give a prediction if you'd like, especially as we're getting closer to Packer picks. I want to see some reactions on here. So we're having more and more folks watching, but again, love to have you. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to drop questions in the comments as well, or comments in the comments if you'd like to. We're happy to answer them there. But if you want to join us live on the live stream with us, you're welcome to join us anytime here. Lombardi's Legends Podcast. We are an inclusive bunch here, talking about the Packers tonight. Wags, it feels a little bit, it's always kind of like New Year's Eve, waiting for the draft to come. It's like, what are our resolutions? What are we looking forward to in the new year, in the new season? The disappointment of the 49er game is out the window as far as I'm concerned. We're starting fresh right now. And theoretically, we're going to have at least 2 draft picks tonight. And we're going to have 2 new young men becoming members of the greatest franchise in pro football. It's just such a magical night if you're a Packer fan to add some new guys to the roster and to the Green Bay Packer family.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams with multiple picks in the first round. So there's a lot of teams that are sitting out the first round tonight. And it's kind of fun. As you said, it's like that Christmas morning. We've got not just one pick where we've got to wait and be dreading the fact that it's going to be someone that no one's talked about, and then our night's ruined / over. And I'm not naming any names because, as you said, it's a big moment for anyone that the Packers select. I'm just thinking back years past. Let's be honest, Dane, right? So now with 2 picks, it's like we can get our hopes up, and then that pick comes in. Hopefully we're happy, and then we get to go right again and get our hopes up for another pick in pretty short order. I'm almost worried we won't have time to react or talk in between picks if the Packers package one of those second rounders to move up, perhaps in the 20s. Maybe they go from 28 to 25 and they've got a 22 and a 25 type pick. There's so many potential outcomes tonight. I'm getting excited, and we've still got a ways to go.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I remember back in the day when we were a little bit younger, these drafts would take all day. The young people out there, they used to do all 7 rounds over 2 days, Wags, and it would take all day long. We could barely finish a keg of beer in the amount of time it took for them to do just the first day of the draft. So this is such a different animal. I know they've been doing it for a long time this way now, but it's kind of a fun way to do it. Wags, looking ahead, number 12, the Minnesota Vikings are going to be picking, and we are a Packer podcast, but we have to talk about the NFC North rivals. I've seen a lot of different position groups they could go towards, but any indication from your perspective on where the Minnesota Vikings could go in this draft?
I have no idea. I'm always worried that they end up getting a good selection, and they've done pretty well in the draft, but a whole new regime in Minnesota. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. I worry that they take one of the wide receiver targets that we want and pair that player with Justin Jefferson. You look at their wide receiver group and you say, well, why would they need to do that? But I think it would make sense to supplement Jefferson with another young talent based on where he is in his career. So that could be certainly a possibility. Maybe someone like Drake London, who I wasn't as high on for the Packers, but could make a ton of sense for the Vikings to line up opposite of Justin Jefferson. So that would be a formidable duo with the size that both of them bring onto the field.
And Wags, sorry, I have to cut you off because you're talking about wide receiver. My fear is Olave from Ohio State. I mentioned in our wide receiver preview that he reminds me his route running of Chris Carter. And I really don't need to see that for another 10, 12 years out of Minnesota, a guy who runs crisp routes like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, who knows? They could just be boring and go O-line, and not the sexiest pick, but that could really improve that offense potentially. Yes. They've already got the skill position players. Maybe they just try to get some more big guys up front. So it looks like we've got another pick in with the Panthers. So
Iquanu,
I'm going to pause here.
It looks like it's Iquanu from North Carolina State, the offensive tackle. So the first offensive tackle is off the board, folks. And no surprise that he's the first selection, the offensive line, as far as I'm concerned. The only surprise I have, Wags, is that he lasted this long. He's been down, he's a top 5 guy, I thought.
Yeah, consensus number 3. So the fact that he lasted this long, again, we have not been going chalk at all this evening. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things unfold. All right, Schmitty, thanks for joining,
what
man.
Up?
Hey guys,
you on.
I just turned on the draft, so I'm super excited to see what's happening.
Yeah. Well, welcome. You've got the. So Schmitty, the backdrop is classic. You've got that paneling that is perfect for NFL draft. You've got Brett Favre behind you. How are you feeling? Are you in Minnesota right now, or are you in Wisconsin?
I'm across the border in Minnesota.
Thanks for holding down the fort for us.
Yeah. I looked at the futility of the Vikings stadium today at work, so it's still standing, but it's terrible.
It's just terrible, isn't it?
It's terrible.
How are you feeling tonight with this draft coming up?
I mean, I feel like it's pretty chalk right now, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what the Packers do. We were talking with my family. This is back in the Ted Thompson days. We'd be waiting around until our pick, and then we'd find out he traded it for 4 fourth-rounders or something. We'd all go to bed just hating life. But hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be I think it's going to be a good night. I'm not convinced that they're taking a wide receiver tonight. I'll believe it when I see it. But I think that they could improve this team significantly. There's enough guys out there that the Packers could land. I really like some of the safeties, later in the first round, and some of these offensive linemen. But there's just so many really good players out there that I think the Packers could land.
Yeah, and it's like, do we want to trade 2 picks to move up and get 1? Stay where we're at? I don't know.
Would you trade Jordan Love?
Folks out there, share the beer that you're drinking during the draft. I know it's only Thursday, but it's football. We've got to have a beer with the draft tonight. So Wisconsin, I definitely had to get some Moon Man. So tonight, if you are joining me for a beer, please feel free to share that and let us know what your poison is as well.
Oh, it looks like the Giants pick is in as well. So we'll find out here shortly. They had an interesting situation, decided not to go with Daniel Jones with their 5th-year option. So could they be reaching and grabbing a quarterback right now? I doubt it, but it's the Giants, so you don't know, really.
It's insane that they had 2 picks in the top 10. Or in the top 7.
Yeah.
You do a lot of
it sure was. That's a lot of draft capital. What do we have here? Gravy Train with a comment. I'm going to be in the XFL. No lineman can hold me back. And the quarterback always gets tackled. If you want, you can play for the Vikings anytime. We'd love to have you up there in Minnesota, Gravy Train. Where are they doing this draft from? Are they in Vegas?
Vegas.
They are in Vegas. Yep.
Okay.
Going back to the Minnesota, Schmitty, you're local. Any feelings on how the Vikings might swing with this?
No, I have no idea. I just
the Bears. Oh, this is. Excuse me. Sorry to cut you off.
Wait, is this right now?
No. This was last year. Sorry to cut you off. They're talking about the Fields deal, so they have the Bears pick here.
Oh, got it.
From last
Scared me
year.
there for a minute, Dane.
Yeah. Well, I thought the Bears traded up.
Yeah. I kind of like these new hats that they have with the big, like the team name in the back and the cursive in the front. I like that.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, pick is in. They're dancing.
Did you see that Make-A-Wish kid?
Yeah, he was stoked.
He was very excited. Good for him.
Yeah, it was cool. Oh, here we go.
Oh, all right.
Oh, Evan Neal, offensive tackle from Alabama. So a couple tackles off the board, but no wide receivers through 7, folks.
No.
Yeah, and Evan Neal was the consensus number 5. So, Schmitty, to your point, they weren't necessarily chalk in order of consensus, but since there was a lot of different variants in terms of who was high and who wasn't, it's definitely settled in, as we said a couple picks ago, after that top 3, where I think most of the guys we expected to go in the top 8 seem to be landing in that region. So it's going to be interesting now with the next few picks, what happens and how the board starts to break and take shape for the Packers. We're keeping an eye for wide receiver. I think we'll probably be seeing one soon. I don't know if it'll be one of the next 2 picks, though.
It could be Atlanta, just based on the fact they don't have a lot of weapons and Ridley's suspended this year, right? So it wouldn't totally shock me if it's Atlanta. Keeping an eye on this one, too, because of the whole Jordan Love interest. We've heard a lot of talk about the Falcons having interest in Jordan Love. And if they were to make a move and the Packers, there's somebody out there that they want, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that this would be a move where the Packers trade a 1, they're one and Jay Love and somehow bounce up there, right? That could be part of a package deal. So just let's keep an eye on it. I don't think it's likely, but with all the talk, the smoke around the Falcons and Jordan Love, I'd be surprised, but it's not completely out there.
Yeah, and I don't know if Jordan Love and the 22 is good enough package to get up to 7 or 8. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
And Ridley's suspended for the whole year, right?
Yeah, for gambling, I think. He was on football games.
Smart.
Oh, we've got Rams fans have jumped into our comment section here. LA Rams up. We'll give you our 2024 first-round pick for Jair Alexander. I'll have to double check and make sure we still have that pick. I like that. Yeah, I was going to say that's a very Rams move, right? Trading that future, but they've got a lot of talent on their roster right now.
No deal, but...
no deal. We love Jair.
Very funny. Whoa, what is this? Splits box jumping?
Oh!
And I want to just point out that that's Mark, who's on our podcast network, jumping on. So, Mark, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate that.
Super funny.
Yeah, well, we don't want to trade with you guys. No offense, but we need some guys so that we can steal that trip to the Super Bowl back. I think we're feeling a little entitled, a little desperate, maybe. So we're ready to do whatever it takes.
And folks, again, we're going to be streaming here. We're humming right along. We're almost out of the single-digit draft picks, and Packers are still a ways away here. But you never know when the Packers trade up. But if you want to join our live stream tonight, feel free to. We've got the live stream link. We'll be dropping in the comments throughout. Or if you just want to drop a comment in our comments or a question, we're here to answer them. We're just out here having fun. It's the Packer first-round draft night party, baby. It's having some fun here.
Yeah, I just dropped the link in the chat room as well. So more than welcome to join, and appreciate all the comments in the chat as well. I think we've got one here. I want to hit up this one. It's kind of funny from Gravy Train saying, I'm going to be in the XFL. No lineman can hold me back, and the quarterback always gets tackled. So I don't know who was putting that in there, but I just had a little bit of chuckle there. So thanks for joining.
Good for you, Gravy Train.
It could be. It definitely
also
could
great
be.
work on the graphics, Wags.
What's that?
Great work on the graphics. That was really nice.
Oh yeah, I'm hard at work playing admin here and trying to multitask, which I'm not good at all. But we're doing the best we can, and I know there's Packer fans out there that may not have access to the draft tonight. So hopefully we're bringing you some good news. I know in this day and age it's not that hard to follow along with these things, but we enjoy you all joining us nonetheless, whether you're watching it in the living room like we are, or if you are at work and you're watching us when you're not supposed to be and supposed to be working. We appreciate that as well.
Hey, Wags, it looks like the pick is in, but as folks are listening, without naming names, we do have, we're in the works to get some very special guests interviews on our podcast coming up in the coming weeks and months. Some guys that play on the team. So just stay tuned. We're going to have some really special announcements here in the coming weeks and months with some of the players that are going to be coming on our podcast. Just want to let folks know.
Teaser.
Drake London off the board. Atlanta Falcons went wide receiver at pick 8. First wideout gone. Wags, we talked about him in our wide receiver preview. He was a guy who we thought big wide receiver, maybe not as much speed, but it felt like he could be a little duplicitous to Alan Lazard. So not surprised to see him go. But he did seem to fit the Packers profile of a big, tall, athletic wide receiver. So somebody that fits the profile off the board now at number 8 to Atlanta.
Yeah, and I stand by my assessment. I would have been happy to have him in Green Bay, no doubt about it. Didn't seem likely that he was going to be falling into the 22 range, but I do think that He's not a guy necessarily that is exactly what we need right now from a fit standpoint at the wide receiver position. So from that standpoint, not surprised he was taken. And then a little bit of slight annoyance that Atlanta decided to take a receiver at 8. But again, we'll have to continue to stay patient and monitor how these things unfold. Hopefully, this isn't the start of a wide receiver run earlier than what we might have expected.
Schmitty, what do you think of Drake London's suit tonight?
I mean, it looks good. It's almost like he knew he was getting drafted by the Falcons with the red.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he prophesized that, but I would like to see him with a tie and an actual collar. If I'm nitpicking here, but
You don't like the ice? He's got the chain.
that's fine. But have a real collar. I don't know. I guess I'm old school with that. It's
Well,
like one of those Tiger Woods golf shirts I think he's wearing.
So
Maybe
Seattle,
like a pastor.
Seattle's up next. I don't think they're going wide receiver, but they could go a lot of different directions here. They're a bit of a wild card as far as I'm concerned because they're starting over largely.
Yeah, they need a
no
lot.
more Russell Wilson. They need a lot. They're looking for draft capital, I think. So be curious to see what they do with this pick. Could they be a team that takes a quarterback? I don't think a quarterback's going top 10, but I do think somebody's going before the quarterback goes before the Packers pick at 22.
Yeah, and they could even go defense. I mean, their defense isn't a thing anymore from when they won the Super Bowl. It's just they don't have it. They need a lot.
They need a lot. It feels good to say that too, doesn't it? They need a lot.
Yeah.
Mitch has a prediction.
What's that?
I was going to say Mitch has a prediction. Mitch in our chat, Mitch Slowick, Hamilton to Seattle, he thinks. So we could see that. That wouldn't be a surprise. Schmitty, to your point, defense. Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame, could potentially go at this point. I think all bets are off when you're talking Seattle right now.
Yeah. It's just nice that we don't have to worry about them as much because playing them, especially with Russ, was always a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. We expect that they'll be rebuilding. They're in a tough division, but you never know. I don't have a lot of confidence that they're going to get supreme quarterback play, but not sure that Russell Wilson was giving them all that much last year. So if they are able to add a couple of pieces to the defense and they've still got some good skill position players, perhaps they can get more to that ground and pound and defensive style that Pete Carroll seems to prefer. And so I don't think they're going to be world beaters this year, but perhaps it's a quicker rebuild than we might think.
And they have Drew Lock at quarterback now, right?
That's right. Drew Lock. Yeah.
Not a lot to be concerned about there.
Yeah. And I know there was some talk about them trading DK Metcalf even for draft capital. So I don't know.
If they draft a wide receiver right now, that to me might signal that DK Metcalf's on his way out. Right?
Yeah, true. That'd be exciting.
Yeah, the intrigue. I'll be honest. I'm a little surprised Pete Carroll decided to stick around through the Russell Wilson rebuild, to be totally real. I thought he would be out just because.
Yeah, he kind of had an out.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to win without him.
Maybe it's a little bit of a lesser version of the Belichick versus Brady, Carroll versus Russell Wilson. Although I think Wilson's probably going to get the upper hand on that this year, short of Denver getting a rash of injuries.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's getting older too. Is he 70?
Yeah, he looks good, but he's older
good
than he looks. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. We got to fact check Pete Carroll's age here for our live stream.
He is 70.
Wow. Yeah.
So is Belichick.
Belichick is too. Wow.
Yeah, Andy Reid is 64. Nick Saban is 70.
Wow.
Meanwhile,
wild.
Sean McVay, 36, dirtbag.
Yeah, younger than we are.
Ugh.
Ugh. But not as handsome or successful. So
Obviously.
obviously.
Speaking of Wagner, that cut, you're looking real trim. In here, back here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And here I got the
Whew.
COVID hair is gone now. Yeah.
You always look good, Wags. I mean, this is maybe more than the viewers want to know, but I saw a picture of the three of us and our other buddy sitting in a hot tub over the winter, and I looked at that and I thought, there's a lot of hair in that hot tub. Because the three of us had longer hair. But yeah, our other buddy, his hair was short, but yeah, I just thought there's a lot of hair in there.
A lot of hair. There's just a lot of hair in there. Schmitty, are you drinking OJ straight? Is that a screwdriver?
Straight OJ.
Straight OJ.
2
Gotta
nights
get
in a
that.
row, we had breakfast for dinner, so
Nice.
just a little leftover.
Pancakes?
Last night was eggs with ham, and tonight was thrown together. I had some Eggo waffles and some Kick cereal and
Nice.
some orange juice.
Nice. Not a bad
This is
meal.
very off topic, but from draft time. But Michael Bublé is on, so
Hey, dad talk, right? Come on. I think it might fit right in with our demographic.
So, yeah, what's Bublé doing there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe he has a
Bublé's
new
on the draft.
Vegas special or something.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And Desmond Howard's there. Maybe that'll give us a good little special teams luck this weekend. If Desmond Howard can rub off on the Packers' late round draft picks, that could maybe impact special teams going forward.
Yeah. I think the Seahawks will take Charles Cross here, the offense tackle from Mississippi State. I think that makes sense for them. I forget what's their offense tackle who's been there forever. It's like 38, 39
Brown?
years.
I think it's Brown, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been holding out a lot during, I believe, the past couple of seasons. So.
Oh, the pick is in for Seattle. Charles
Wags.
Cross, Wagstradamus. You got it right.
That's how I go.
There's another one of those shirts.
Oh, yeah. It's the style. I'm going to go dark for 1 second. I'll be right back. My daughter's making some noises. I'll be right back.
Who's next? The Jets are back. Okay, so this is their second top 10 pick.
Yeah, it's amazing how many teams have multiple picks in the first round this year.
So who we got? The Giants, the Jets, us.
The Saints.
Yes, that's right.
And who else was there? Someone else in our range. The Eagles.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So those are two teams we got to worry about receiver selections as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Eagles in particular. That is a big
And the Saints too. I mean, with Michael Thomas, it might make sense that they would want to get a guy there as well.
Yeah,
They've already got a good defense. So
true. They might go. I don't know. Maybe they'd go offensive line. I don't know. Protect. Who's their quarterback now?
Jameson.
It's Jameis?
Jameis Winston. Yeah.
Yeah.
They re-signed him. I think it was a pretty short contract.
Well, yeah, maybe give him a little bit of protection, but maybe he doesn't need it so much. It seems like they have a lot of parents in the green room this year. There's always a parental interview after the draft pick.
So I got to ask you guys both, and anybody who's following along, feel free to drop a comment in as well. First pick, the Packers take at 22, unless they move up. What position? If you had to guess, what position at 22?
I almost say not wide receiver. Just I don't know. I feel like we always get our hopes up for something flashy, and then the pick is usually more practical.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe an offensive lineman, and then we'll take a receiver later. But who knows if the one we want is there anymore.
Yeah,
True.
I was going to say offensive tackle as well. Now, it depends. It's not the deepest group of first-round talent for that offensive tackle position. There's a couple of guys that play interior offensive linemen that might go in the late teens to 20s, but that's not a direction I see the Packers going. So it kind of depends who's off the board, right? But
Right.
I wouldn't be shocked if offensive tackle ends up being the pick. I still think edge is a possibility. We've seen a bunch of guys go early, but they were the ones we expected at that position as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mitch says wide receiver is the obvious choice, but probably defensive line. That would be an interesting one. If the Packers went defensive line, there's some guys that could definitely play in that position group that, nobody's gone right from the D line yet in this draft. And that would be really interesting to see if one of those guys just, started to fall a little bit. Holy smokes. I mean, I look at somebody like a DeMarvin Leal. There's a bunch of guys like that can just absolutely ball, that could really free up Kenny Clark to just wreak havoc on opposing offensive lines.
Yeah. So when Kenny's just smashing, we're a very much better football team.
Totally. And Mitch says there's safety because Amos and Savage are both in contract years. And now that's where I'm going, Mitch. I think that right now that would be my most likely position group. I think that there's a fair number. There's 2 or 3 top safeties that the Packers could take at 22. I think one of them will still be there. I really like the young man from Michigan.
Daxton Hill. Yeah.
I really like him. He can play the slot. He's fast over the top. He's got good ball hawking skills. Seems to be a really good fit for what the Packers might need.
Yeah, and he could be there at 22 for sure, and maybe even 28 if they sit back. So
looks like the Jets have a pick in. They could go wide out.
There it is.
Garrett Wilson, Ohio State. And you know what? I'm not sad about that. I think he's a really nice football player, but I'm not sure if he fit what the Packers were necessarily looking for from just size perspective and kind of that outside receiver that the Packers need. I'm not sure if Garrett Wilson was the guy they'd really be looking for. So, I think that some of the other targets the Packers might want at wide receiver that they could be targeting at 22 or 28 are definitely still on the board right now.
I agree. The only thing that's, again, slight concern, but not really, is that 2 receivers ended up going in the top 10.
Yeah.
And Garrett Wilson is also not someone that I thought was necessarily a fit. Certainly very talented, but they're going to want to try to get the guy that's going to fit with what they are looking for. So I agree with you, Dane. I don't think either Drake London or Garrett Wilson were guys that the Packers probably were targeting. Figured they would be gone a little bit too early to get in our range, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep over that pick as well.
Was he really better than Chris Olave? I guess I didn't watch too much Ohio State football.
I think I've watched a little bit of the tape on both of them now. I think that Wilson, the thought process is he's a little bit more explosive, and Olave is probably a safer pick. But I like Olave personally more. I think he's a more NFL ready, crisp route runner that's going to just know the playbook inside and out, and that's going to make any quarterback's job a little bit easier. And that's what we need, right? So I actually like Olave's skill set a little bit more.
It's parental interviews.
Yeah, more parents here.
Ooh, trade pick.
Oh, Washington Commanders have traded their pick with the Saints. The Saints are moving up. Another team that could be wide receiver needy. So would not be surprising if Olave could go off the board very quickly here. He might be a guy that they could be targeting. Especially Wags, to your point, 2 wide receivers off the board in the top 10. A team that needs wide receiver could be bouncing up and making a move right now.
2 other guys I'd throw out there. Keep an eye on Jermaine Johnson, edge out of Florida State. Just oozing with talent. Seems like a classic Saints selection. And perhaps they want another defensive guy to look at as safety, Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. What thought he was going to be top 10, and he's fallen out of the top 10 here. So potentially, perhaps the Saints saw him there and they decided we can get him. Let's go up and grab him.
Yeah, that's good insight. Saints, what was their pick? 16. So they moved up 5 or so slots, huh?
16 and 19. So
19.
yeah, that's
Maybe they traded both.
That's the good thing is that takes a team that definitely probably could have snagged a wide receiver right in front of Green Bay off the table. And if they do go receiver here, maybe they go Jamison Williams, it's likely a guy that wouldn't have fallen down to that 22 range anyway.
I feel like Jamison Williams would be the best fit for the Saints, and I am not a Saints fan, so I'm probably talking way out of turn. But they're not winning a Super Bowl this year with Jameis Winston. They're just not. And somebody like a Jamison Williams, who I think has the most upside probably of any wide receiver in the draft, but may also not play a full year.
Right, they can wait on it a little bit.
They can wait. They can wait on him a year, kind of use this as a redshirt year, and then try to retool next year, probably with a brand new quarterback. But now you've got a stud wide receiver to go with your young quarterback and, try to build off of that. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the move that they make right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't think Michael Thomas is long for that team either. No. So he could be that next wide receiver traded, but probably after next year, because I'm sure they're hoping that he can play, first of all, and rehab some of his value so that they can get a little bit more of a return than what he would get at this point.
Yeah. Interesting. This is going to be – so do we know what they gave up yet? The Saints gave up to get up there to 11? Okay.
I've been refreshing Twitter here, Dane. Elon Musk needs to get on the algorithm.
We'll tweet at him. Let him know. So right now, folks, just a refresher, Garrett Wilson, a wide receiver, is off the board, as is Drake London at wide receiver. And the Saints just traded up to 11. There's at least a chance they could be targeting a wide receiver as well, just based on some of the needs that they have at that position group. I wish we were in the room with Goody right now. I'd love to know what the Packers front office is talking about. That's kind of my dream.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have to say anything. Just put me in the corner. Just let me absorb.
Yep. Completely agree. I'm going to look up what Packer, speaking of Twitter, I'm going to look up what Packer Twitter is saying a little bit. I was surprised. We put out some polls and some questions about one of our bold predictions on Twitter was that the Packers would not take a wide receiver in the first round. And I was surprised the number of people that commented that they'd be okay with that. So that was a bit of a surprise for me. Now, maybe that's just the folks that listen to us and follow us that are saying that. But that being said, there were, a handful of folks that said that tonight. And I was surprised by it.
Or they're preemptively saying that to be less disappointed.
That's fair.
I don't know that we have that much influence, Dan. I'd like to think so, but
I'd like to think so too. Let's see here. Just looking up Twitter.
I wouldn't mind seeing a couple quarterbacks get taken. Maybe that's what the Saints are thinking here too. You never know. This isn't the most talented quarterback draft, obviously, but if they feel like they can get the top quarterback, maybe that makes sense for them as well.
It's definitely possible, Wags. I'd be fine with that too, by the way, if they decided to do that.
Ooh, do the Pelicans play tonight? Is that why they had the "Let's Go Pels" sign out?
What's up, Mitch? How you doing, man? We can't hear you yet.
Oh crap! Hang on.
What up?
How's it going?
Good. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Yeah,
I
thanks for
appreciate
joining,
the
man.
invite.
Yeah. So how are you feeling? How are you
I'm
feeling
feeling
about this? Yeah.
Sorry, I got like my phone, my iPad, and then I'm turning all the volumes off right now.
All good. All good.
I'm actually surprised that the Saints did that, honestly, for what they've already given up to get back in the first round, and then they go and get. Did they even get their pick in yet?
I think it's just in now.
It's
They're
in.
parading out on the stage.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Have we seen anything yet? What they traded? Was it both of their
It was
picks?
it was their 13th pick, and then 2022 and 2023 their second and third round pick for both years.
Wow.
Move up 2
Are you
spots.
serious?
Yeah, I just read that on NFL.com.
Oh man. They must love whoever this is then.
I mean, the only person I could see that go up that much was maybe a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well,
Pickett.
Yep, pick is in here.
Let's see. Pick is in. Tony Gonzalez is up there giving fist pounds.
I thought this was a Chargers thing for a second. Chargers and Chiefs. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't either.
I also don't have the sound on, so maybe that would help.
Yeah. Is Tony Gonzalez never played for the Saints? What's going on here?
Come on.
Pro Football inductees.
I'm streaming.
I'll tell you what, if they traded up all those picks for a quarterback, my jaw will maybe drop a little bit. Just there's nobody there that I really thought was the guy at quarterback.
Wait, so they traded their number 16 pick and second and third from this year and next year?
No,
think so.
the second and third year, the second and third from this year and next year.
Oh my god.
It's
Quite a haul. I mean, if anything, that points to maybe the Packers are not going to be trading up if it's that expensive to move up. And that wasn't that far, but that's some interesting information nonetheless.
It's a lot of draft capital.
That's so much.
Yeah. And then, folks, just remember, the Minnesota Vikings are next on the clock. So after this, we'll see what the Vikings do.
Dane, keep it clean. I'm just going to remind you. We're a family show.
I'll try my best. They're really dragging this out.
We need the Oscars music here.
Yeah.
They put on some Vikings helmet, the horn. School.
Here we go.
Yeah, what? The anticipation is so high.
What they gave up, I would be too.
They took Chris Olave, Ohio State, wide receiver. There he goes. Thought they might take a wideout.
A little bit of a gut check there. See, this is what I was worried about with two wide receivers taken at the bottom half of the top 10. We've got to run on receiver here. So it's going to be interesting to see. There's a long way to go before we get to 22. And with what they just spent to run up and get him, that's not necessarily a good sign for folks that want a receiver with the number 22 pick.
Man.
Wags, and so we participated in a fantasy or kind of like a draft, like a mock draft with some other podcasters a week or so ago. And Wags, would you mind sharing a little bit about what happened there? Because it's starting art's imitating life a little bit now. There was a run there as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like with mock drafts, especially, it's with fans and fellow podcasters, but still, you do expect that more skill position players will get picked, right, in a mock draft than maybe in reality. So in that draft, the top 5 receivers were gone by the time we got to 22. And obviously, we don't have the ability to trade the pick. So couldn't trade up, couldn't trade back. So we ended up taking edge David Ojabo. I wasn't really super impressed with the talent and based on the positions that we needed that was left at 22. So it's going to be maybe interesting to see how things unfold here.
Lions
It may not be out of the realm of possibility the Packers end up trading back, depending on what's on the board.
To the Vikings.
Wow.
They went from 32 to 12.
Whoa. Lions traded up.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Andrew. I just saw the screen as I saw Lions on the clock. I was like, whoa.
Wow. So the Lions traded up from 32 back up to 12.
You don't see an inter-division trade like that too often, do you?
Holy smokes.
So this is going to be really interesting.
And Wags, the Lions had 2 first-round picks as well.
Because they already took it 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then they had the Rams pick.
Number 12.
This is bonkers.
This is what you can't simulate in mock drafts.
Wow. So they gave up a lot of draft capital, whatever they gave up, to go all the way back into the early teens.
Is this quarterback? Yeah. You got to wonder.
Could be. Because who do they have right now? They're with the kid from the Rams, right?
I don't think Jared Goff is the long-term future.
Yeah. I don't think so either. I mean, Timmy Boyle, Wags. They got Timmy Boyle too.
Yeah, what do they need a quarterback for?
Detroit could use a edge rusher as well. So I'm going to throw again Jermaine Johnson. I'm sorry, out of Florida State out there. I don't know if they'd move up that far to try to get him, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What about that kid from Utah, the Pac-12 defensive linebacker of the year?
Out of Utah, Devin Lloyd.
Devin Lloyd.
He's definitely there. I mean, especially for what that team went through. I mean, I just read about him. The Packers did like 2 or 3 days ago. I mean,
that's so true.
And Campbell, he loves his defense. He loves those hard-nosed guys. So,
a guy who can just run with tight ends too and do all of that. That could be somebody that they could really covet. You're right.
Especially when you got Aaron Rodgers in the division, you kind of want to try to stop him a little bit.
Yeah, they're probably tired of getting carved up by Aaron Jones out of the backfield too, right? So you want to be able to get somebody keep up. Wow. I'm surprised the Vikings made that trade too, to be completely honest with you. I'm surprised they would trade back, but
I imagine they got quite a haul. They must have gotten quite a haul for Detroit to move up that far. That's a pretty penny. So it's going to be interesting to see what that is.
But it probably depends on if they knew what the Saints gave up to move up just a couple picks. Because if you had seen that, you might be playing it differently. I don't know.
No, that's totally true. Right now, wide receiver an option for the Lions too?
Yep.
To move up that much though, for what's left, that's a hard.
It's a hard,
especially when they have Hutchinson and they just got St. Brown, who was amazing as a rookie last year.
St. Brown was good.
It just popped up. I missed what they traded to get him.
Well, here comes. Pickens in.
Probably take 5 minutes for them to do it again.
Nope.
Williams.
Wow.
There it is.
Jameson Williams. Wow.
Wow.
Lions love first-round wide receivers.
Named Williams.
Yeah.
Okay, so they gave up their second-round pick. They get the second-round pick, the 46th, and they gave up their 32nd, 34th, and 2022 third-round pick.
Okay.
So they actually got a steal.
Chump change.
Yeah, that wasn't bad compared to what New Orleans gave up.
Look at those matching suits.
Wow. That's wild.
Looks like the Lions are starting to do some things right, unfortunately.
Yeah, this dude can ball.
Wow.
Yeah. Boy,
honestly, though, I wasn't a fan of his just because how tiny he was. Because he's 5'9", 170 pounds.
Yeah, he's not a big guy, right?
I mean,
compared to
he's
some of the
fast.
others.
Don't get me wrong, but this is the NFL. I mean, you got
Mm-hmm.
250-pound linebackers that can basically catch you.
Yeah. Wow.
Ooh.
He can
I
fly.
can't believe
Dane, what do you think
Saints must
Viking
feel like
fans
they
are
got
thinking right
fleeced.
now? Well, go to the mind of Viking fans. Are they happy about this? Ticked
I-
off? What's the deal?
You know,
This is, again, we talked about it. New regime, probably a smart move from a franchise standpoint, to be honest. But what do you think the fans up in Minnesota are feeling right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think there's probably a good portion of their fan base that's wishing they could have just, taken a name at this point. But I don't love it as a Packer fan because, to your point, they've got a new boss in town, and now they're going to be able to go out and get some other high round talent for that. And they're also banking that the Lions might not be good again next year, and that'll just make those picks even that much more premium. So I think it was a good trade if you're the Vikings, but I also see why the Lions did it, right? They're looking to go and get some explosive playmakers on that offense to go with the guys they already have. So it remains to be seen how this all ends up.
Yeah, the Lions still don't have, in my opinion, a good enough quarterback to go with some of that young talent, but they've got time to sort this out. So
Yeah. I'll be back. I'm going dark for a minute. I'll be back.
I bet the Vikings fans are also feeling like they didn't get enough return for comparatively to what happened just before them.
Yeah.
That's wild. What is it? Is this 3 wide receivers in a row?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Actually, 4 in the last 5 picks.
yeah, it's not looking good for Treylon Burks to slip to the Packers here. He's the guy I wanted anyway, but
Well,
I don't see it happening the way this went.
The guy from Penn State, they're really the only last 2 first rounders, basically, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're they're thinking this Jameson Williams will be like a Tyreek Hill guy. Just a small, really fast receiver. Just open up the field. But so now they'll have him and St. Brown?
And then Hawkinson, too. They just picked up his 5th-year option.
Oh, darn it. And then the Vikings get the 32nd pick now?
Yes.
Is that part of it? Okay.
I'm surprised Hamilton hasn't been picked up.
Yep. Yeah. Hamilton out of Notre Dame. Yep.
Yeah. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I've seen him play the last, for the last 2 years, and he reminds me a lot of Cam Chancellor, but he can actually cover.
Wags, who do you think this one is? Who do you think the pick is?
For Eagles? I'm not really sure what the Eagles are going to do here. Be interesting. Mitch, since you just mentioned Kyle Hamilton, I think I'm just gonna go with him. I agree. I think he was supposed to be a bottom half of top 10.
I figured he'd go top 5, honestly.
I don't know if they need him. I mean, this is me not following the Vikings or the Eagles. I'm sorry.
Well, the Eagles, their center, Kelsey, right? Or no? What's his name? He just re-signed a 1-year deal, but he's like 36, 37, isn't he?
Sounds right.
I could definitely see the top center going to the Eagles, and they got the 2 picks. It would be a good cushion for that middle of O-line. Even if he doesn't play, he can still learn behind one of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
ESPN's
defensive line. They bought Fletcher Cox back, but he's getting up there in age. So maybe Jordan Davis is a guy to watch out here for the Eagles as well.
ESPN says wide receiver, cornerback, inside linebacker, center, or safety.
Oh, Texans actually were supposed to be at 13, so the Eagles moved up. Texans moved back to 15th. They got a 2022 4th-round pick and 2 2022 5th-round picks to move up 2 spots. I think that Vikings trade is looking worse and worse by the minute.
Yay!
Exactly.
Ugh. Oh, Vikings. What is Ice Cube doing?
It's interesting. Both the Eagles and the Saints, who had 2 picks between 15 and 19, ended up turning those in to move up into the top 15.
Eagles actually had 3 picks.
They have 3 picks in the first round. Okay.
Yeah, but then they traded 1 to the Saints. So the Saints moved back up. Then that's when they got 2. And then the Saints turned that into their pick of Olave.
For a second there, when McShay was looking at Ice Cube, I thought it was Chris Berman for just a second. McShay's, I think, put on some LBs here. He's studying the draft too much. Hurry up.
Okay, so the Saints this year, they had 19. They got number 16 from the Eagles through the Indy pick for the Wentz trade.
Oh.
And then Philadelphia received the 18th overall, the round 3 pick of this year, round 7 pick, and then next year's 1st round pick, and then 2024 2nd round pick.
Vikings, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, this draft isn't boring. Are we still waiting for the Eagles pick to come in?
Yeah, just for him to say it.
Jeez.
I know. Holy smokes.
Jordan Davis. Wagstradamus strikes again.
Per usual.
It does make sense. Fletcher Cox, I believe they restructured it. He got cut, and then they bought him back, I think, on a 1 or 2 year deal. Might just be a 1 year contract. He's really getting up there in age. He's been with the Eagles, I think, his whole career.
Correct.
But to bring in the young guy to learn from him and maybe pass the torch, Jordan Davis, and he's 24, I think. So I don't think he would have been a Packer guy. They like to go younger with their draft picks. So
he looks like he could eat up blockers. Oh my goodness. among other things. Wow, his mom pushed him into football?
Still no quarterback taken, for whatever that's worth.
I honestly thought the Saints were going to take Pickett, truth be told. Because Winston's coming off the ACL tear, and he's on his last year in his contract. Plus, with their whole salary cap mess, it made sense. So who do you guys think the Ravens are going to take?
I actually have no idea.
Just put on your Wagster-Damas hat. You'll figure it out.
Well, considering they signed and unsigned Zadarius Smith,
Oh, yeah.
I predicted as a possibility, but I'm gonna go on paper and say it's gonna be the edge out of Florida State, Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah.
They like their edge guys in Baltimore.
It's true. This kid has so much attitude.
Well, that Georgia defensive lineman, they were beasts. I mean, they got Walker, who went first overall. Then you got this guy, Wyatt. And then, Davis. And then who was their third one? I thought there was like 3 first-round picks on the Georgia defensive line coming in this year.
Schmitty, I think we're getting kind of a lull here. We need some more dad stories. When's too early to start indoctrinating your kid into being a Packer fan?
More dad stories? Boy, I don't know. Let's see. Well, my kid has his Packer stock. It's kept in the same place as his Social Security card. So it's that important. I don't know. He's in his big kid car seat now. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, he's learning words, trying to walk. That's that whole thing.
He's still young enough that it would be completely fair to have him in some type of inappropriate attire that is poking the Vikings, I think. So pass him around. Yeah.
He wears his he has this Packers onesie. I couldn't find any like Packer Pro Shop, NFL.com, or NFL Shop, whatever. But found one at Fleet Farm. It's a little big for him, but it works great for after swimming because we go to swimming after school now. But yeah, just pop him in that, and there's his PJs for the night. It's great. So everybody at swimming gets to see him in his Packer gear and know where the alliances lie. It's interesting. I don't know. I feel like Ice Cube is a Raiders fan, but it transferred from when they were in LA. I don't know. This is interesting.
Yeah,
he still wears an LA hat. I don't know.
Yeah, he's always been an LA Raiders fan since.
But now is he a Las Vegas Raiders fan?
Raiders for him, no matter
Just
what.
Raiders. Those chains are so sparkly. Oh my goodness.
Talking about Sauce Gardner's chains?
I didn't see those.
Oh, I'm seeing a pic right now. It's like he's got this baby blue suit and then like a foot of just diamond crusted out necklace.
Oh boy, I'll have to look at that.
But I like it though how my app it says pick is in for the Ravens, pick is in for the Texans. and Washington's on the clock, but they're not saying who actually got picked.
Ooh. There's Kyle Hamilton, safety Notre Dame to the Ravens.
Oh, damn it.
Well, even though I was wrong for once, not surprised the Ravens would go defense.
Oh my goodness, look at that sauce bottle. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's quite a chain. Nice blue suit though. Yeah, this guy's tall. For a safety, holy cow.
Oh yeah, Kyle Hampton. Yeah, he's a big guy. He's 6'1", I think.
6'4", it's showed on the screen.
6'4"?
Yeah. I think I read that correctly.
Yeah, 6'4", 220. Man.
That's tall.
How is he in deep coverage? Because I didn't really watch him Notre Dame.
He was actually really
I would
good.
just be worried that, like, if someone gets past him, you'd have a hard time getting going.
No, because he's actually one of the smartest safeties. I'm not saying he's like Ed Reed smart, but he was basically the captain of Notre Dame's defense. I grew up in Northwest Indiana, so Notre Dame is my college team. So watching him play,
Sounds right.
He was. I mean, he'll come up. He'll basically go after the running backs. He'll basically hit the wide receivers at the line, or he'll drop back and then go across the field like Ed Reed used to do sometimes. He does that, and he has the speed to match. Like, I'm actually surprised he lasted to 14 because I could have easily seen him going top 3, top 5, no problem.
Interesting. Yeah, I have to admit, he wasn't on my radar. I tried to watch some tape on the guys that I felt the Packers might be in range of, and everything I saw, he was definitely a top 10 pick as well. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're seeing the highlights of him now, but he can hit.
His dad's tall too. Jeez. Wags, I think you need to tell us some dog stories now.
Well, let me see what would be a good one. For anybody that's watching, this is enthralling, I realize. So early on in our podcast, My Chocolate Lab was known as Producer Dozer. Dozer's his name because he would always make an appearance somehow. Low quality audio. We're still not like a pro studio here or anything, but he's usually been pretty good, except for when we're interviewing players. Then I have to lock him in a separate room because he inevitably starts barking in the middle of a player interview, which is the absolute worst. So he's quiet all the time, except for like at the worst possible moment.
Dozer.
But anyway, yeah, he's just chilling back here. Right
I'd
now.
forgotten about those little producer cuts that he would toss in. Just little sound bites.
Yeah, he works hard for those producer credits, Schmitty. Here we go with the selection for Houston.
Kenyon Green, guard, Texas A&M.
Okay.
Yeah, he was up there.
I think that's a good pick for Houston. I'm not following them closely, but they're staying disciplined here. So it's been interesting to see how some teams that have had multiple picks have attacked the draft. And I know as Packer fans, we're not terribly concerned about Houston, aside from 5 years from now when we'll trade eventually for some of the players that they're drafting. So just worth pointing out. But yeah, I mean, with the number 3 pick, they got Derek Stingley, who could be the best player in this draft from a talent standpoint by the time it's all said and done. And then they go and take a interior offensive lineman here with their other first round picks. So not a bad move from them by any means.
I just got a notification that Marquise Brown was traded to Arizona.
Marquise
So
Brown
Baltimore-
from Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore shipping out a wide receiver, which I don't know. Doesn't make sense that they drafted a safety. But then maybe that takes Arizona off the board for getting a wide receiver.
I don't think they're even
But I
picking.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say, I don't know that they pick in front of us, but I guess they don't pick at all in the first round.
That was the first pick by Houston. I will point out, though, that was a guy that wasn't in that consensus range. I mean, Kenyon Green, 27 on consensus draft board. So might be the first good pick that's gone Green Bay's way so far. We'll see. we need another one or two to do
Well
that
said.
as well.
Well, Houston, they have holes on every single group in
Yeah,
that
they
team.
need a
So,
lot.
I mean, with the Watson trade, though, I mean, they have the next 2 years 2 picks in the first round, as well as I think next year they have 2 more in the second round as well. That's what Cleveland gave them.
Yeah. To be clear, I'm not knocking the pick. I think I actually like it. I know it's not fun for fans, but when teams take an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman in the first round, it's typically a pretty smart pick. I'm not saying that they have necessarily a higher hit rate, but it shows a little bit more discipline to me.
Agreed. Well, Washington's pick is in. Still, no linebackers have been taken or safeties.
No, Kyle Hamilton just got.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So 1 safety, no linebackers have been taken, and no quarterbacks.
Shit. Who's the quarterback for Washington?
I can't think of his name. Granke? Is that it?
Well, so they probably don't need a quarterback. Chargers definitely don't. Eagles won't pick one. Saints, maybe.
Carson Wentz, they traded. I knew they traded.
Oh, that's right, Carson Wentz.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so they won't probably. Well, I don't know. Maybe they take a quarterback. Chargers won't. Eagles won't. Saints, maybe. Steelers, maybe.
I could see Steelers taking Pickett. Homegrown talent right there.
Patriots, no quarterback. And then it's us. But maybe one of those teams needs Jordan Love. I don't know.
Keep an eye on Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington, for Washington State, like the Washington College, Washington,
Yeah.
not Washington D.C. For the Commanders here, I wouldn't be shocked if they add on defense. By the way, I haven't had a conversation with anybody on this. What's our feeling on the new Washington nickname, the Commanders? Hasn't sunk in for me yet.
I think comparatively it's better than the Cleveland Guardians. But I feel like those are kind of in the same boat. They both had a change. So I think the Commanders is better than Guardians. But I don't know that I love either of them. But probably better than, definitely better than what they have.
No comment.
Ooh, Elvis is there. That's fun.
I mean, I know I didn't think they had to change it, honestly. I mean, That's just my personal opinion on it. But I mean, Commanders, I think, is pretty bad. But the Guardians is way worse. I will admit with that one.
Yeah. Like, what are they the Guardians of? Maybe I just don't know the story.
I think it's a reference to their old baseball team from like the early 1900s, I believe. Like somewhere in there, I was reading about it, like when they were kind of coming up with it. Yeah,
Jahan Dotson, Penn State wide receiver.
yeah. Come on, Burke, survive the 22.
Yeah.
Interesting. Just hit the wire. The Titans are trading AJ Brown to the Eagles.
Wow.
Whoa.
I wish we could have got in on that one.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, so the Eagles are picking a wide receiver at 18.
Not at all.
According to Adam Schefter.
Well, then that would mean the Titans are probably on 18 then, right? I mean, they'd have
Not
to
sure.
get the first round
Yeah.
pick.
Nothing in here about what pick that would be, but yeah, one would imagine.
Wait, who do the Titans? Did they re-sign Julio?
No.
They're just wide receiverless?
Yep. Well, the Chargers pick is in. That didn't take very long at all.
No, must have had their guy.
Well, they need help in their run defense because they were, 31st or 30th last year in the run defense, the Chargers were?
This is how quick the pick should be. Just bang, bang, bang.
I can't even keep up with my ticker.
You're doing great.
Okay, so Chargers take Zion Johnson, guard from Boston College. They want to keep Herbert upright and let him keep doing what he does.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Didn't play until his senior year of high school. And got a college offer after playing 1 year. Jeez.
Wow. So Titans did take the 18th pick from the Eagles. It just showed up on the app.
That could be Treylon Burks.
Yep.
Not going great.
Dan, you missed some good stuff.
So what's the latest? I saw a couple offensive linemen going here for sure.
Jahan Dotson went at early, a lot earlier than I think we expected.
Washington? Is that what
Washington?
I just saw? Okay.
Yep. And then the Titans just traded AJ Brown to the Eagles.
Oh my gosh!
So we're thinking
Really?
the Titans
They don't
might
have a wide
be.
receiver.
Titans are now at number 18, so they could be a Treylon Burks destination to replace AJ Brown.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah. All the wide receivers are basically gone but Dotson of the first round, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And AJ Brown goes to Philly. I would have preferred he stay in the AFC. He's a good receiver.
So,
This is nuts. What did they give up? The Eagles give up to get the Titans.
at least the 18th pick.
At least
that's the only
18,
pick.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Probably more.
A lot more, probably. Yeah.
It had to be.
Wow. Crazy draft. Chase Edward Townsend in our chat says this has been a crazy draft. Indeed. This is bonkers.
Then that's
All right. Titans have a pick in too, huh? We're getting closer, folks, to the Packers. Pick at 22. There might not be any wide receivers left, but somebody's there.
There almost isn't. Yeah.
Anybody
So
else?
Dane, my bold prediction: Christian Watson at number 22.
Oh no!
I'm just telling you, be ready for anything. Be
Anything's
ready for
possible.
anything.
Is it like last year when none of the wide receivers fell to us, or was that 2 years ago?
Yeah,
When
what
it was like a super heavy.
It was 2 years ago. It's when
Yeah.
the Vikings got Justin Jefferson right in front of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, this is bonkers.
Great. 2022 and 2020 are playing up the same way.
Lining up,
So
man.
hopefully another quarterback does not get picked.
Oh, don't even. Oh man, this is gnarly.
Well, the top 2 quarterbacks are still available for the Packers at 22.
Just going with value, right? Best
I
of
will
the
be taking a
position.
long swig of this beer if that happens.
So Eagles get AJ Brown, Titans get the 18th and the 101st pick of this draft. That's it.
That's it. Okay.
Yep. So a first round pick and a third round pick.
Okay. Wow. He's a good receiver.
Yeah. And he was a first round pick, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
didn't he just finish his 3rd year? I don't
I
think
thought
he's
this
been
was
in the
his
league that
Second
long.
or third year.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. He's got to be coming up on a new contract, right? That's my guess. And the
No,
Titans
because he
don't
still
wanna
got
pay
the
him.
5th year option. So they still got at least 2 years before
Couple more
they
years.
have to do the contract on him.
Wow.
How crazy would that be, though, if the Utah linebacker I was talking about a few picks ago was still there? Top linebacker goes to Green Bay.
So I thought he was a first round pick too, but he was a 2nd rounder. So he was heading into in 2019. So he was coming
Already
into the
round.
last year of his
Okay.
So he would have been due for a new contract after this season. So
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, that's right, because he was picked with Metcalf, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like right around there.
Oh, he
Because I
might have.
thought-
It was that draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're probably right. So, if we want to be optimistic, there's definitely going to be some defensive talent still on the board for the Packers at 22.
That's
If
right.
they want to take somebody. Let's be real. I mean, there's like to your point, Mitch. Linebacker Lloyd is really good. There's some safety play out there. All the D linemen are still out there. There's still quite
We've
a bit
got
of talent. On the defense
Panning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa,
Yeah.
supposed to be in top 20 pick. Unfortunately, Dane, they could all go in order here in the next 4 picks as well.
How crazy would this be, though, if we get the linebacker at 22 and then get the wide receiver at 28 from North Dakota State? What's his name?
Watkins.
Yeah. With a 28, he'd be a pretty solid pick there, right?
Would you rather have Watkins or George Pickens from Georgia at 28?
We got to take Pickens.
Bigger receiver. Well, they're both big receivers, right? Pickens went to a bigger school.
That's mainly.
Yeah, but he's only real. I think he only had like one. Like he's only had like 13, 14 games under his belt. He's been injured the last 2 years, right?
Yeah, he was hurt last year. He came back from the injury. And I don't know a lot about Watkins other than what people are saying, through the draft. I candidly don't watch a lot of North Dakota football.
They say, he kind of reminds me of Lazard.
Okay.
He's got that
big
big
guy.
body he can block, which, would help.
Doesn't hurt. So
First
we
round
think
pick.
wide receiver here? They're taking wide receiver?
They have
To
to.
give up AJ Brown, you have to.
Here we go. Roger Goodell.
Arkansas.
Arkansas?
Treylon Burks. Off the board
I was afraid of that.
at 18. Jesus. So which one of you guys can play wide receiver?
I'm not tall enough.
I'm white and I'm slow, so no, I can't.
I might not be fast, but I'm slow.
Oh man. All
Okay,
right, so
Oh, what's happening here?
little
Love story?
love story.
I don't know why Jesse Palmer isn't narrating this.
Little bachelor action.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Go get myself some alcohol.
Yeah. Oh man. This is
Crazy.
a lot of receivers. This is crazy.
I didn't think this wide receiver class was that good, but apparently a lot of front offices did. So that's why they get paid the big bucks, not me.
Well, some of them might be employed for not very long too, though, in this league. So
I have to say my hit rate on predictions hasn't been terrible. So just throwing that out there for any NFL president of operations that might happen to be tuned in right now.
yeah, they're all listening to us, trying to figure out who they should draft.
Yeah. And they'll probably listen again tomorrow just to be in awe and try to figure out how you did this.
That's right.
So, I mean, keeping up with the tickers on the bottom, predicting picks correctly, I'm sure they are in awe.
So Schmitty, punt god on the board here for the Packers.
Yeah. Pick them off right at 22.
Your
Just go
draft
get 'em.
crush. That
San
was the-
Diego
Go
State,
get 'em.
right? Something. Yeah.
Just go get them.
Dane, I do want to reset here. We're coming up on the 19th pick.
Yeah.
Packers, I don't think at this point are going to be trading up, but who the heck knows? We're going to be finding out what's going to happen here shortly based on how this draft has fallen. How are you feeling? I mean, this wide receiver run has been incredible.
Yeah, I'm okay. I really am. Going into this, I really didn't think they'd probably take a wide receiver in the first round. So I'm not surprised, but I guess I'm surprised by the run a little bit. I thought there'd be more receivers on the board at this position, but I also don't know if it was really in the Packers' nature to move up and take a wide receiver, ahead of, move up to take a wide receiver. I just think that there's too much talent still on the board. I mean, we've talked about some of these guys. Devontae Wyatt is a really good defensive lineman from Georgia. Devin Lloyd, really good linebacker there from Utah. I love Lewis Sine, the safety from Georgia, who can just, play sideline to sideline. Just a really good football player there. Wags, you mentioned Trevor Penning, offensive tackle from Northern Iowa. That guy has an absolute mean streak. While I don't think that offensive tackle is a critical position for the Packers right now, with David Bakhtiari hopefully coming back, Yosh Nijman, Elton Jenkins likely moving to tackle at some point in his career, still, I think that he's a really, really good football player. We've talked about Logan Hall, Travis Jones, a couple other defensive linemen that I think are really good. So, Wags, there's a lot of talent that's still on the board here. And of course, Daxton Hill, who's a guy that I actually signaled as somebody I thought the Packers could take at 22 or 28 at safety there from Michigan. So there's a lot to be optimistic about. I know wide receiver is the glaring need, the glaring hole on this Packers offense right now and across the board on this team. But that being said, there's a lot of ways to win football games in the NFL, and one way is to apply a lot of pressure on defense. There's other guys there that can really make a difference for this team. So I'm optimistic. I still feel good. Now, it remains to be seen what we do with this pick, but as you said, we're 3 picks away right now. We're about to find out who the Packers are going to take.
Yeah, and we said in our wide receiver preview, this isn't ideal, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of potential value that could be there in the second round. So we'll just have to see how things shape up. This could, in the long run, end up benefiting the Packers, where they get maybe 4 really good players and still end up getting a couple top shelf speedy wide receivers in round 2. There's still some guys that we mentioned, George Pickens out of Georgia, that could be out there as well. And perhaps the Packers really like him anyway. So we don't know the exact order of their board as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the Saints pick looks to be in. So they've already went wide receiver. Why don't they just take another wide receiver and just put us out of our misery? That could help.
You're just driving the knife in right now, Dane.
So now
Rodgers did 8 fingers.
Knowing what we know now with the wide receiver position, I mean, do you guys, and I'm asking all Schmitty and Mitch and Wags, I'm asking all of you guys, do you think it's more likely now the Packers go defense or offensive line, or you know, what do you think they do? You think they go defense?
Yeah, we might not. It's looking more and more like we won't take a wide receiver in the first round.
Again. Well, L. Johnson, he's still there, the defensive end that Wagner.
There's some edge guys there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, that wouldn't shock me. I felt edge is a position they might go round 1 all along if there was a guy they really liked at that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So
and Trevor Penning off the board. Northern Iowa offensive tackle goes to the New Orleans Saints at pick 19. Big offensive tackle with a mean streak goes to New Orleans. I think a nice pick for them. But off the board and still leaves a lot of defensive talent. Yeah, he can dunk. He's a beast.
Not a big shock because they traded slipping my name, but really good offensive tackle for the Saints. They traded it to the Dolphins, right? So
yeah,
Armstead.
Yep, Armstead.
And he can squat 500 pounds. That's cool.
Wow. Big dude.
100 pounds since high school.
Is that what they're saying?
He gained 100 pounds since high school.
Wow. Holy smokes.
He ate lots of cake.
Yeah. 6'7", 325. That's a big dude. Holy smokes. It's all right, though.
Steelers now.
So Steelers could be a team that takes the first quarterback off the board. No more Big Ben. They don't have a lot of quarterback talent there.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Randolph or Rudolph, whatever his last name is.
Rudolph. Yeah, Rudolph. Yeah, I hope so too, Wags. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to see a quarterback get off the board.
The question is, though, do they take Pickett, the college namesake of the last 3 years, or you take Willis from
Malik Willis.
Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Or even Coral or from Ole Miss.
Right. Just stay away from the edge guys and the safeties, and I'm going to be happy. That's where I'm at. They can take somebody else.
Yeah, New England's always just, I don't know. They're always thinking, and you never know what they're going to do.
I agree with you. Looks like the Steelers pick's already in, which is good. Keep this draft moving.
I wish I could see inside the Packers draft room right now just to see what the guys are doing.
Me too. Fly on the wall.
See the board, just see their faces. Be like,
yep.
13 more picks.
Yep. The most Packer thing that could happen right now, of course, is them trading back. That would be the most Green Bay Packer thing I've ever seen.
I was thinking it, but I was going to wait for somebody else to say it. I was like, how are you going to be that guy?
4th round picks, baby. Let's go get them.
Yeah.
I know it's sort of a letdown in the moment, but would it really be the worst thing? Realistically,
I'd be disappointed. I'm ready to pick somebody.
I think for the defensive talent that's still there for us to trade back, unless we're getting a monster of a haul of picks, and I'm talking like something in the 2nd or 3rd round range, then yeah. Because I'm tired of us going back and getting like 2 4th rounds and a 2nd round pick, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, I also think that unlike some other years, there's a lot of guys on this roster that are pretty darn good. I think that having a few impact guys is the difference right now between a really successful season and not. We need to have, I think, 2 critical guys. If we land both our first round and second round guys, that's 4 major talent groups right there, guys that can make an impact on this roster. That's a huge upgrade for this team. So I'd really like us to stay put if we can going forward.
All right, throw it in the chat. Anybody that's on the live stream right now, I think people are getting ready for this Packer pick. Who should we take right now based on who's available? Throw it in there. Make your prediction. Who you think they'll take, who you want them to take, and we'll go around the round robin here. They're going to be on the board here shortly. The Steelers pick is in, and they're coming back from commercial break. So,
Wags and Mike Shepik commenting, 7 of the top 19 are wide receivers already off the board. Thanks for twisting the knife, Mike. We are aware. My God.
I was just reading some texts from some buddies who are Vikings fans, and sorry to keep going back to them, but this is where I live. But they reminded me that the Vikings just got a new GM this year, and them just getting fleeced is probably not a good look for the new GM.
yeah, Chase Edward Townsend popping in. This has been a crazy draft, no doubt. It's certainly not gone the way that I think a lot of Packer fans would like with this wide receiver run. Lots of trades. It's definitely been seeing a lot of action. An interdivision trade, the Lions trading up to 12 and trading with the Vikings. It's stuff that you don't normally see a lot of. No quarterbacks taken yet in the first 19 picks. So I completely agree. It's in some ways there was some shock with the top 15 guys, not necessarily in the order that everyone would have predicted, but it's been quite a bit of action, no doubt.
So do you guys actually know the details of that Detroit-Minnesota trade?
I don't think I've seen it.
So Detroit got the 12th overall pick, and as well as the second round, number 46 overall. Minnesota receives the 32nd, and then they receive the 34th in the second round and the 66th in the third, and that's it.
That's it. Okay.
For moving up 20 spots in the first round.
Wow.
Roger
And
Goodell is on the stage
34th
for the
pick is
Steelers
practically
pick.
a first-round pick.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
But then the Saints move up 2 spots and they get 4 picks, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and then,
Right.
I feel like Franco Harris does draft announcements a lot.
But did he catch it?
So Arizona receives Hollywood Brown, wide receiver from Baltimore, as well as the third-round pick, number 100, the comp pick from Baltimore. Baltimore receives the 23rd overall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So they traded Hollywood Brown.
So 9 wide receivers have basically been traded or picked in the first 20 picks of this year's draft.
You have to wonder, too,
Wow.
based on the free agent contracts that wide receivers has been getting this offseason, if that's not a big part of a lot of these moves with the wide receivers, it's not necessarily does that bump some of these guys up on teams' boards more so from a value standpoint than truly a talent standpoint? That would be an interesting insight to be able to find out. And here we go. We got quarterback Kenny Pickett gets taken. Local kid, Pittsburgh quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is a pretty neat moment right there.
You know what I think's neat is they took the one position we don't need to draft. So I thought that was pretty neat for Pittsburgh to do that.
I thought you were going to say Nietzsche, but
Neat.
Pretty neat.
Well, everybody's mad at Kirk from the Jaguars because he signed that 4-year, $72 million contract, which just set the market so much higher. And everybody's mad that the Jaguars are like, why would you give out that stupid money for a guy that's not even the top 15 wideout?
Yep. And now the market's gone nuts. Yeah. Spot on. And we're one pick away now from the Green Bay Packers. New England is on the clock. They got about 3 minutes left before their pick is due. And then the Packers, folks, are on the clock. The Green Bay Packers will be selecting 22nd overall in this 2022 draft thus far.
Yeah,
and then again at 28 as well. So we'll see what this brings. I'll be very curious what New England does here with this selection. But there's a lot of talent on the board, particularly on the defensive side of the ball still for the 22nd pick. So I'm optimistic that the Packers can make a splash with this selection. Is that Christian Ponder's wife?
Yeah, Sam.
Sam Ponder? Okay.
I think Belichick's trying to get a trade in.
Oh, it looks like
They
it just
did.
happened.
KC
The Chiefs?
is picking now.
I just had to speak.
Wow. Kansas City moves
So
up to
maybe a wide
21.
well,
Maybe.
wide receiver.
If they might take the last wide receiver.
They might.
Yeah.
This might be George Pickens,
Yeah.
possibly.
Wow. Very well could be, actually, based on that.
I just had to say something, didn't I?
That's incredible. Wow. Kansas City, the pick is in. They clearly wanted somebody. They went up and got it, whoever they're about to get.
So now I'm just going to throw this at you, Dane. If this is a wide receiver, would it be fair if there's Packer fans out there complaining a little bit that Goody wasn't aggressive enough with this board, considering the number of picks that they have?
Depends on how they graded the wideouts. If they didn't think that they had a difference maker, wide receiver out of these guys, or that they thought that they were going to get better value out of a different position group, then no. But if there's no plan B here, I just don't see Alan Lazard being the number one wide receiver going to this year. And we're starting to run out of opportunities potentially to add talent at the wide receiver position, especially if we don't maximize that talent going forward here. So I think it's a fair criticism potentially, but there's still a little bit of time left. We've seen a lot of wide receivers on teams getting traded here in the last couple of days. So we'll see, what the next 48 hours brings. There's still opportunity for the Packers to maybe make a move and get somebody, whether it's a veteran or otherwise. But I'm curious how the Packers and going back to what Mitch was saying earlier, wish we were in the draft room. I would love to see where they're grading out some of these wide receivers compared to guys at other positions, because clearly they didn't value them enough to give up extra picks to go up and get them. Otherwise they would have tried to do that.
Yeah, and to your point earlier too, Dane, it gives them an opportunity to maybe get more value with this pick at another position. That said, you need someone at wide receiver at a certain point. So, you're running out of opportunities. I certainly don't expect them to reach, but we'll see what happens here. It's puts them in potentially a situation where you got to get a guy at some point, right? So unfortunately, if they've got to get a little bit more aggressive with taking someone than they would prefer, it becomes a little bit of a challenging situation for them.
Schmitty, what were you going to say?
I think if the Chiefs pick a wide receiver, we're going to trade back.
You think so?
I think so.
Bold, Schmitty. Bold.
I just want to bring up, though, since basically Favre took over, how many of our wide receivers are actually all pro? I mean, Devontae was all pro twice. Jordy Nelson was one. And then Sterling was 1 year as well?
Probably Sterling Sharp, right? Going all the way
For
back.
like a year or two. And look at the numbers those guys do. I would rather have 2 or 3 pretty good wide receivers than one stud and then whatever. Because we saw what happened. I mean, he basically locked on Adams. Yeah, he was great, and I miss Adams, don't get me wrong. But
sure,
I rather have
cornerback for the Chiefs, Trent McDuffie. So, all right, guys. I'm
T.O.
seeing. Let's throw them in the chat. The Packers are on the clock.
Linebacker from Utah.
Yeah.
Devin
so.
Lloyd, Utah. Okay.
Timmy.
What's going on, Packer fans?
What up? I've got Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan. That's who I picked in our preview podcast, who I thought the Packers would take at 22. I'm sticking with it. He's still there. I think he's great value at 22. He adds another dimension to the Packers defense.
Okay. Any other predictions out there?
One thing I've learned about being a Packer fan is I can never predict what the Packers are going to do.
Yeah, it might be lower down. Maybe it's David Ojabo, edge out of Michigan. We've got Jermaine Johnson, was supposed to be a top 15 pick, another edge guy.
Yeah.
George Karlaftis, who I really like.
like him
Maybe
quite a
not the
bit.
best fit for the Packers. So there's some pretty good value at the edge position as well. Devin Lloyd, I think would be an interesting guy to pair next to Campbell. So there's certainly some defensive options here. I don't know about the offensive players that we have on the board right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
What about the guy, North Dakota State, Christian
Watson?
Yeah.
I think
Definitely a
22 is a
possibility.
reach for him for 22. I think is a reach.
Mm-hmm.
I could see maybe like top second round for him, but first round, I don't know if he's there yet.
He could be a
I'm just doing a
28
quick
guy
hitter.
even.
It depends how high he is on the Packers board. If he he might be a higher evaluated player for the Packers than he is for some other teams. And as we've seen, there's a lot of wide receivers that are clearly higher on teams' boards than I think even what a lot of fans were expecting. So
Absolutely.
it wouldn't be that big of a shocker at this
The
point.
pick is in.
I thought Dotson was going to go late first round. He went earlier than I thought he was going to go. Johan Dotson from Penn State.
Real quick before the pick is announced, AJ Brown got $100 million deal.
Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, what, 4 years? It's got to be 4 years. 4 year, 100 million.
4
Probably.
year, $100 million, 57 guaranteed.
Yeah, I was gonna say somewhere in 50s guaranteed.
What a market.
Thanks, Kirk. Pretty sure every wide receiver that just got a new contract this year is sending him a great gift.
Okay.
Wagner, was this the cornerback you were talking about, McDuffie?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Goodell even on the stage yet, or no?
No.
No, of course not.
Doesn't it always seem like the Packers always take the longest?
I'm just surprised they actually stayed where they were and not, trade back or something.
Yeah. Again, I don't have any predictions for the Green Bay Packers.
Also, that punter's available, you guys.
We need a long snapper.
Because he's the punt god.
Well, we got the punter from the Bears.
Do you guys look at the draft here in Vegas and think, what would this look like in Green Bay if they ever do
Yeah,
it?
I thought that right away to me. What is this? Kwai Walker, inside linebacker,
Okay,
Georgia.
I saw him coming. I didn't think he'd go 22. I figured he'd go 28, but
We have Campbell.
yeah. That's a good pick, though. He could run sideline to sideline.
I just realized how much of a delay I'm on, guys.
I got it on my phone. That's why I was like, I got my phone, I'm watching my iPad, and I'm sitting here with you guys.
So who did the Packers take here?
Kwai Walker from Georgia, linebacker.
Linebacker from Georgia. No kidding. Wow. Okay.
Wait.
No kidding.
Right there. Talk to us, Wags.
It's a surprise for me, but again, we just said the way that this board is broken, clearly they're going to go with the best player available. They felt, I think there was certainly some value there on that side of the ball. So based on how this draft was going, I don't think we can be too surprised.
Well, Ravens just traded to Buffalo, spot behind us.
What is happening?
Wow.
Beavers are going to go in the next 5 picks. How much did we pay
Doesn't
Devandra Campbell?
it didn't even look like they had a TV crew with this guy, and he wasn't even in the green room. That's maybe a little worrisome.
Well, the good news is, from what I recall from reading about him, he's pretty instinctive. He's really good at tackling open field, which you can never have enough of. Maybe this means a little bit more 2 inside linebackers. We saw the Packers do that quite a bit last year with Chris Barnes as the second inside linebacker. So maybe they decided this is the year. They wanted somebody a little bit more athletic than Chris to get out there and play kind of that second inside linebacker role and move sideline to sideline. But still a little bit of a surprise position-wise for me. That's not what I expected.
I didn't even have to change around my ticker. He wasn't in the top consensus players available. You got to go down to number 49. And again, we know the Packers make their own evaluation. So it's not me saying I'm smarter than they are, but it's certainly not going to be a popular pick, I think, with most Packer fans out there.
Right.
Goody needs to get rid of the fucking movie Moneyball and quit.
Hey,
all this.
this is a family program. Watch the language.
Did you guys just get fined for that?
We've been fined by the FCC.
You got a one warning. Otherwise, I'm booting you out. 30-second mute on the mic.
Wow. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised by that pick. Not going to lie.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me is from the way the Packers front office has valued the linebacker position. It seems like edge would have been where they would have gone, particularly with some of the guys that we named right before that pick came up. So that's, I think, more surprising to me than the fact that they took someone that everyone else thought might go in the second round. That part is not as big of a shock to me as maybe the position that they went with.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a need right now. Because
No.
what was Campbell's deal?
Yeah, 3-year deal.
Yeah,
I think
3-year 54.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
did we need this? Doesn't
No.
seem like it.
I think we did, just because Campbell was really the only middle linebacker that was actually a middle linebacker. It wasn't a huge glaring need for us, because how long has the Packers not had a true honest middle linebacker?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I would say probably since Barnett with that 1 year.
But did you need it in the first round? Like, don't we have other needs?
He's a big dude. He's 6'4". That's a big dude. 6'4",
I
241.
think what will happen is Campbell will play more run support, and then this guy will probably be more chasing after the running backs or tight ends, whatever, et cetera, et cetera.
But I feel like we were just praising Chris Barnes this past year for having a good, like, I just feel like there was needs other places, but what do I know?
I'm just trying to be positive with my 8-finger vodka drink right now. So.
Yeah. Don't get negative. You'll get muted.
Wow.
I'm fair, but there is moderation here.
Wow. Diana Suarez in the comments. So is this guy Walker going to protect Rodgers? I hope so.
Security detail. We drafted security detail.
Yeah. Oh, man.
More importantly, can he catch passes?
Right. It's a good
Maybe
question.
interceptions.
We could put him in the jumbo formation.
Wow. That was such a Packers pick, right? It's just so funny. Taking a position I didn't expect, a guy at the position nobody expects. I hope he pans out. I'll be curious to see him get to OTAs and get to camp. Everything I'm reading about him as we're talking about this sounds like he's an incredibly instinctive linebacker. Again, talking about Kwai Walker, the Packers' first pick of the first round, 22nd overall. According to his scouting report, he's very good at play recognition, and he's a guy who's quick off the block, very, very much a hustle guy, very good athlete as well. And every single scouting report I've read about him is he is a reliable tackler. He's somebody that's going to wrap up. He's going to bring you down to the ground. So from that perspective, you can't have enough guys like that. But again, surprised to see Kwai go as early as he did to Green Bay at 22nd overall, considering some of the needs at other positions, even on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can do some cool things.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
My
Ooh,
goodness.
he has a Wonderlic score of 9.
So he won't be calling plays in the huddle. That's fine.
Wow.
Care.
As long as he likes to hit people, that's all okay.
How about
Yeah.
the Bills pick? Khair Elam, is that how you say his name?
I don't know that.
Is that the cornerback
From Florida.
from Florida? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Bills went DB. So what pick are we on now? Forgive me. I had to move downstairs with no television.
We're on Dallas at 24 right now.
Yeah.
24. Okay. Okay. This is something
So
else.
the Packers have a chance to redeem themselves in all of our, as well as Packer Nation's eyes here. And I don't say that to denigrate Kwai Walker. It's just we're looking for specific things here, right? I think that's a fair thing to say.
They got to go with the receiver now, don't they?
I don't
Who,
think they
though?
are. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Devin Lloyd at 28.
That's what I'm talking about.
Or the punt god. I mean, he's there. Oh, Mike McCarthy, get out of here.
I still think they're
Mike
going
McCarthy's
safety.
wearing a suit and
I
tie.
don't know why everybody hates him so much. It's like you do realize he gave us like a lot of good winning years.
Mitch, you're speaking my language, baby.
Like everybody's
Mike
like,
McCarthy.
oh,
love.
screw him. It's like the dude coached for like what 10 years for us, won multiple titles. I mean, or NFC North titles. Sorry, Super Bowl, all that fun stuff.
Don't make me drop that moderation hammer. This is almost as offensive as what Timmy was dropping.
Don't get me wrong. I think he got bland and very conservative the last 2-3 years. And
Yeah.
I honestly think he lost the team in 2014 at the end of that year.
That end of that.
I'm not going to
season.
mention the game, but
Yeah,
I'm
let's-
just going to
yeah.
say the year. I think he lost that team, and it basically just kicked it down the road.
Yeah.
I still good. I mean, I have nothing but love for the guy. I mean, he brought 10 years of winning records, basically, or winning record for our team.
Mm-hmm.
No such thing as a participation trophy.
At least he's better than Sherman.
Oof, yeah, Mike Sherman. So I've got to think that the Packers are going to play more of that nickel defense this year with both Campbell and Kwai on the field at the same time. I'm just starting to process a little bit the draft pick, and I've got to think they're going to want to just have those two linebackers out on passing downs more. It seems like something that Kwai Walker is adept at is being able to cover receivers and tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. So just something to keep an eye on, I think, as we go into camp, see how much the Packers are playing a nickel and if that becomes a bit more of a base defense for them.
Well, that's what they were saying. They were wanting to get out of dime and stop using 6 DBs. They were wanting to use 5 because when you have Alexander and Stokes on the outside, Douglas, and then as the helper, then you got Savage and Amos, which had pretty good PFF grades last year, especially Amos. You don't need, then you're able to put more in the box, which helps our run defense.
David Bakhtiari tweets, "Love it. Defense wins championships." So David Bakhtiari with the stamp of approval tonight.
Has there ever been a player sit there and be like, "This pick sucked. I hate being on this team"?
David Bakhtiari is also a world-class troller on social media, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
That's true.
Next thing you know is Aaron Rodgers is going to tweet out like 4-finger night for his.
The Cowboys definitely have the most professional-looking draft room.
Do they have anybody under the age of 70 in that room or no?
Yeah, I think Jerry Jones' alleged daughter. She might be in the back there.
So when we say daughter, do we mean daughter or daughter?
No, it's a family.
I apologize for that one.
Just reading through.
I
Okay.
just can't imagine this being at Lambeau in Green Bay.
Oh, Cowboys went offensive tackle Tyler Smith from Tulsa.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they go offensive tackle. That's right around where I've seen projections for him, is right around that slot. Maybe not necessarily to the Cowboys, but in that kind of mid to late 20 range. So interesting
Smith
pick for
to
them.
replace Smith.
Yeah, right. And they needed some help, the Dallas Cowboys, on that offensive line. A once very formidable offensive line looked to have a lot of holes in it.
Well,
So,
Smith hasn't played a full season since 2016, I think it is.
really? It's been a minute then. Okay.
I mean, he's had his back issues, his knee issues. I mean, he's a big dude. Don't get me wrong. He's a big, strong dude. But, I mean, you can only take so many years of doing it, snap after snap before it finally takes a toll on you.
Yep. Wow.
Wow.
I'm just reading Packer Twitter. People are not happy with the Green Bay Packers selection in the first round.
Predictable.
It's a little predictable.
I wonder if Goot actually has his phone on during this time or if he just has it turned off.
I'm betting off. That's my hard guess.
For his sake, it's off.
The wife is texting him, honey, that was a really bad pick. I'm reading Twitter right now.
Like he's trying to be the hero, like that one that he's trying to find, that little needle in a haystack to be the hero. Am I doing?
Yeah, but in reality, I mean, what's the percentages of first-round picks actually panning out? Was it like 40% of them actually pan out to being good players more than 5 years?
Probably, but
I mean, we do got to give him props. His first pick, he had Jair Alexander. He's got Jenkins. He got Dillon. He's got, Myers. He looks to be pretty decently solid. He got Stokes. Picked up Campbell and Douglas. I mean, a lot of people hated him for the Jordan Love pick, which I agree with you 100%. Like I hated that pick. But he's also had some pretty home run hits the last 4 years of him drafting.
Yep.
Just trying to be devil's advocate, guys.
Yeah, whose side are you on?
Hey,
This
it's completely fair, but I am not going to deny that I might switch from beer to whiskey pretty soon, depending on what happens at number 28. So
I'm already there, so I mean,
Out of a shaker bottle?
that's the best way. You get the closes all the time, so you can carry it around. It's perfect. I've been doing this for like the last 6 years. I'll never drink out of anything else. It's awesome. Plus, if I get drunk, I just hang on to this and I'm good.
Clip it on.
I guess it's pretty safe
Yeah.
if you put it.
I don't ever spill my drink.
Yeah.
So could the Packers go with another Georgia player with George Pickens at 28? I'm just putting together that they could go Georgia here to join Eric Stokes, last year's first-round pick, who also is from Georgia.
Well, Pickens is a linebacker, right? Or is he another? Or no, he's defensive.
He's the wideout. He's the wide receiver.
He's the wideout.
George
Okay.
Pickens. Yep. I'll be curious to see this, where the Packers end up here. There's still about a 40% chance that the Packers trade out of this first-round pick, though, right?
I'm going to
40% from.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there.
Just pull it down on air. You're just like,
Yeah, it's out there.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Less than half, right? But, likely enough.
I'm pretty sure every Green Bay fan is like, shut up. We are not trading.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Question
how
is,
far down do I got to update
salary
the
cap.
ticker of available players, like number 75, or where are we going to be safe?
We'll find out.
Wagner.
I mean, they could go with the Lewis Cine too, the safety from Georgia. I'm just looking at Georgia connections now. Who knows?
Well,
Maybe
what
they like
are our
Stokes
top
so
three
much.
picks? I mean, we got Jermaine Johnson, defensive end. We got Hall, the safety from Michigan.
Hill, yeah. Daxton Hill, yeah. I love him. I really would like him in Green Bay.
I mean, one of those two picks, I think a lot of people would be really happy with either of those two picks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there a third guy we want to throw in there for conversation's sake? That would make everybody generally happy, not okay.
I don't know if Packer fans are going to be happy no matter what at this point. It's my take.
Yeah, I feel like unless you're picking in the top 5, maybe not even then. Draft night is not generally a happy for any fans.
And those watching, by the way, feel free to drop something in the comments. We've been having a lot of folks funneling in and out all night. But feel free. How are you feeling with the Packers' first pick? Who do you hope the Packers take with their next pick? Feel free to drop it in the comments now. I'd love to hear from you. I'm getting text messages from people asking me what in the world's going on. So that's a fun one.
Do you want to address that here?
Was that from Wags?
Offline. No. Something else. Goodness gracious. And again, folks that are watching now, if you haven't heard of us or listened to us in the past, Lombardi's Legends podcast, we're going to have I'm going to throw a teaser out there. We're going to have some special guests lined up in the coming weeks and months with some of the, we've always been able to get some players on previous years. We're going to be continuing and working to book some of those guys now in conversations. We'll be dropping names and all of that later date, but really excited and optimistic about some of the fun interviews and experiences we're going to have in the coming weeks and months leading up to training camp. Training camp can't come soon enough. We'll be doing some stuff live from camp in August as well. But again, Lombardi's Legends podcast, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast. Feel free to rate us, share us with your friends. My wife is in the comments now saying hi to people I see as well. So that's good. Hi, Andrea.
You might be able to get the first round draft pick.
Kwai Walker. Just you wait. When Kwai's busting heads come September, you're going to be like, man, I wish I would have been kinder to him on draft night.
And hey, just to be clear, this is nothing against the player. Whenever we get down on picks like this, I think that's something to be clear about. It's just really about expectations and sort of what we were looking for, right? So I hope you're right,
Absolutely.
Dane.
Yeah.
I'm just looking
For the
here.
record, I wasn't the highest on the Rashawn Gary pick.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there. I'll own that, right? So it
Same.
seemed like a little bit of an early pick at that time, and based on his production in college, Rashawn Gary went number 12. Was not a guy I think a lot of Packer fans were thinking about, especially after we signed the Smiths in the free agency pool. I mean, it seems like every year we've been hoping for a wide receiver in the first round. So, I think we'll be happy to be wrong as well.
Mhm.
Wags, would you say that Don Gary was your biggest surprise, or what? Who's a draft pick that you're like shocked that they made so much? Like, who shocked you?
He was not the
Tyler
biggest
Linderbaum.
surprise. I think if you want to do a deep cut, I don't know if the video is still out there on YouTube, but Harrell, what year was that?
Justin
That would've been-
Harrell.
yeah, Justin Harrell definitely was probably the biggest shocker. And that was some time ago. That was probably around 2006, 2007
Probably.
range.
Maybe
Yeah, it's
even
been
earlier
some
than
time.
that.
I don't know
I think that was
exactly what year.
2006.
Yeah. Yeah, Tennessee defensive lineman, right? He did not play long. I would say Reynolds, going back maybe even further than that. If you remember Reynolds from Florida State, he only ended up playing for the Packers for like 2 years, pass rusher, and he was just never panned out. Was too light, couldn't hold up against the run. I think they were trying to get another Kabir, and they ended up just getting a guy who just got pushed around at the next level. That was a really frustrating pick too.
You guys
But
see
they-
that nice wrestling footage?
Worst pick ever, Tony Mandarich.
Yeah.
Before my time. I mean, I feel like I'm getting older, but that was I was alive, but I don't think I was following football at that
I was
point.
barely live when they
Yeah.
picked it.
So was that year where Barry Sanders was on the board?
Yeah, that was Deion Sanders, Barry Sanders. Like the first 5 picks, 4 of them Hall of Fame, and we get the one that wasn't a Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I was
we picked at 2 and Barry Sanders was 3.
Oof,
Yeah, Deion
that's
was
painful.
4. I think Bruce Smith was 1.
Yeah, I was just looking up picks by year. Jamal Reynolds was 2001 and Justin Harrell was 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2009 was excellent. BJ Raji and Clay Matthews.
I missed BJ Raji. I hated when he retired.
He was great. He was so fun to watch too.
There was some puzzling tackle picks back after this first Super Bowl run. John Michaels, Ross Verba, guys that played a couple of years, but I don't think we were too excited about those picks at that time either.
Yeah, Verba was an Iowa guy, I remember, and he played for, I think, the extent of that contract and then left. And that was right before the Chad Clifton, Mark Tauzier era, if I recall, at tackle.
Jets just traded back into the 26th spot.
26?
Yeah,
so they've
the
been
Jets
3.
just went back in.
So they've taken the Packers' spot.
No,
No,
No, we're
26.
28.
Oh,
Packers
excuse
are
me,
28.
26. Excuse me. Yeah.
who remember the year we drafted Demarius Randall?
Yeah.
Who was the safety we drafted, or who was the other DB?
Quentin Rollins, I
Yeah.
believe, is who it was, who was like a basketball player, right? Who played
Yeah.
not a lot.
Yeah,
of
it
football,
was
leading
both
into
of
it.
those guys were safeties, and we tried to turn them into corners. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
why?
I don't know. If we can overlook 2020 with Jordan Love. I think that was a earthquake of a pick, no doubt about it. So there's been a lot of them actually, as we're kind of reprising all of these first rounders here in the last 20, 25 years. So
If we're looking for reasons for optimism, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, James Jones. Who am I
Randall
missing?
Devontae Adams.
Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams. None of which were first-round picks. A lot of
and
talent in the second round and
Most
later.
in the second round.
Not knocking that point. 100% agree with you. How many of those guys could come in and contribute from day one, though?
Right.
That's the question. I mean, even
Yeah.
Devontae took 3
2
years to be able
yeah.
to be a steady contributor. I think Randall Cobb was probably the guy that you mentioned that was the fastest to contribute. Jordy was up there, but
It took him a year too, though.
Yeah,
To
it did.
your
Yeah.
point,
I
I
think it was
mean,
the
really,
year after the Super Bowl when the next year in 2011 is when he really took off.
yeah, because Greg Jennings prior to that was really the number one guy. I feel like for that Super Bowl year, most
Yeah,
of
him
that
and
year.
Donald.
and DD was still there. Yeah.
Plus, he also had. He was on injured reserve. Our tight end.
Finley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Finley was out. Yeah.
Do we know what the Titans got here?
Oh, from the Jets. I think they
Yeah.
got a second round pick, but I got the guy basically on mute next to me, so I didn't hear what he said, but I'm pretty sure it was a second round pick, but I'm not 100% sure on it.
There's a suit.
Oh, they got Jermaine Johnson.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Pass rusher gone.
Yeah.
And he fell
Which
quite
the
a bit.
Jets-
He was expected to be a top 15 pick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which the Jets head coach, he loves those type of guys. What's his name? Selman or the Jets head
Yeah,
coach?
the guy from
Tampa Bay
49ers,
Buccaneers
right?
traded their pick to the Jaguars. So Jaguars are on the clock again.
Jags at 27 are on the clock right now, and then the
Wow.
Packers are up at 28.
Yeah, so we could get the Utah linebacker.
I feel like the Kwai Walker pick probably squashes that, though.
Think so?
I can see Daxton Hill. If he's there, I see Daxton Hill going.
That's who I'd like to see go. That's been my prediction. Is they take him in the first round. I'm still hopeful they will. With the dark horse being seen, the safety from Georgia. I think that those guys are both kind of rated up there, but I would prefer Daxton Hill. I think. I just think Daxton Hill's speed and with Kwai Walker's speed, it adds that next level. It makes the defense faster. So that could be an improvement.
I'm sorry. I thought Devin Lloyd was an edge guy. Incorrect.
Yeah, I think Lloyd's more of kind of an off-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
So just to put a monkey wrench in our draft night, who's the top tight end prospect
This year?
Yeah, it's the
It's,
kid from Iowa,
Colorado
right?
State.
Colorado,
Colorado
yeah.
State kid. Yeah. Is it McDuffie or something like
Something
that?
like that. What do we think? Is that a possibility, or do we think maybe round 2 for him?
I don't think he's a round 1 guy from the
Feels
grading
right.
I've seen. I think he's a second round guy.
Okay.
I think that's
I
what
just
I've
know
seen.
the tight end wasn't really talked about, and I know we really haven't had Tanyan, yeah, he had that one great year, but he's coming off ACL. Plus, we have DeGuara, but it's like
Prime for another good year.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing with the tight end group is really like our tight end room. It's actually a crowded room, but they don't have a lot of like the inline guys. Because I would argue DeGuara and Daphne aren't necessarily your like hand in the dirt, prototypical, tight end. They are more of an H-back guy. So
we have more
changes that.
athletic tight ends. We don't have those beast tight ends.
Yeah, and Mercedes is getting up there. He's my
Yeah.
age. He's an old man if he's 37.
I know last year he had the 1 year. They haven't resigned him yet, have they?
I think he's still under contract for one more season. if
I
I'm
know,
not
but I thought
mistaken.
last year was his last 1 year.
No,
Last
I
year.
thought he was still under contract for this year. Let me confirm that.
Because I didn't think he was signed for this year. I think he's still a free agent.
I thought he was signed.
I think he's on the roster.
Remember earlier this week when there was reports that the Packers were back in talks about Darren Waller?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Well,
Could
we
still
were trying to
happen.
get him in the Devontae Adams trade. We were trying to get a first round and Waller.
Right.
Instead of the second, Raiders are like, nope.
But I
think the league stepped in on that. The league said it can't happen. It was something because Devontae hadn't signed
Yeah,
his
the take
tender.
egg. And so after the trade happened, then they could resume talks. And so they said, "Oh, it's back on the table," but you never believe anything. I also heard that there was a report that the Packers were going to trade up today for a wide receiver. That didn't happen. Well, we got our guy.
And Mercedes is under contract this season. He under this year, and then he has void years in 23 and 24.
Right.
But he's under this year. Yeah.
Because I knew he signed a 1 year. I just didn't know if he was under for this year or not.
Yep, he's under this year.
Well, we're on the clock.
All
I
right.
think the Packers are going to take a wide receiver here. I
You
actually
think
do.
so? You think
Yeah.
they take? Do you think Pickens, Watson, or
One of
somebody
those
else?
guys. Yeah.
One of those two.
Yeah, I either one. It'd be interesting to get 2 Georgia guys in the first round, wouldn't it? But
Yeah, it would.
I don't know. I've felt all along Watson might be a Packers guy, so we'll see.
Here's some good news. Walker had a faster shuttle and 3-cone time than Stokes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
So,
240 pounds, so he's
yeah,
athletic.
what weight you
So
would put in that?
He's 6'3" and 240.
yeah. So the Packers stick with their very athletic guys.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Well, I think that's what a lot of the guys said about Barry was this year he let the players play their positions and just let them, instead of trying to hide and be cute with everything, it's just like, let's be simple and let's just do our thing.
I like it.
As do I.
Yeah, and he did wonders with Campbell. So because
Yeah.
Campbell wasn't ever outstanding.
Well, he was all pro
Last
this
year. He
year.
was great, and so maybe he can help this guy too.
Yep.
I can only imagine, though, where we would have been without him.
Yeah,
been
that signing
drafting
in the Rasul
higher than
Douglas
15.
mid-season.
I think actually Campbell was a bigger impact than Douglas. I mean, Douglas had his
too.
moments, don't get me wrong, but I think Campbell, I mean, because he was there the whole year. I mean,
Yeah. Campbell was that's the thing is day in and day out he was he was just there, right, making that presence
Exactly.
felt. Yeah.
because he had 120 or 110 tackles, and
Yeah,
He
this
was-
offseason, he was our Wags and my priority signing out of all the free agents. That was the guy I think we both agreed on, Wags, if I remember right. That was kind of our guy that we wanted back more than anyone.
still waiting to see who the Jags picked.
Okay. And after the Packers pick, the second one, I am going to go to bed and hope that they don't trade back up into the first round again.
Yeah, thanks everyone, by the way, for
Yeah.
joining us tonight.
This is fun.
It's been fun. Yeah.
Did you guys start right at 7?
Yeah. Wags did. Wags kicked this bad boy off. I was putting my kid to sleep.
Right.
She was throwing up, so she was maybe foreshadowing things to come.
Oh
On
no!
draft night.
She have that stomach
I'm
flu
sorry.
going around.
Not good
everywhere.
omens.
Yeah.
Not good omens.
Not good omens, yeah.
And Andrea Varese has left the chat.
Yeah, the wife is gone now. She's like, later.
Is Goodell on stage yet or no?
I don't know. I just had a Shields commercial.
Oh, their commercial break.
I have
Okay.
the Hill.
Looks like it might be Devin Lloyd out of Utah.
Okay.
But pick hasn't been
Ah,
All right.
They're taking their sweet time.
They sure are.
they
That
were,
was
going, they were going pretty quick there for the last couple, and then they stopped, slowed again.
To give the Packers time.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah, give us more time.
Yeah, so maybe they'll take Lloyd and we could take Hill.
Yeah, that's a
That'd be great. I'd be ecstatic if we got Hill from
Yeah.
Michigan at this at our slot.
Now, was he their basically captain on defense? I mean, not necessarily the captain, but basically he called the plays on the back end.
I don't know if he was calling plays, to be honest with you, but I was just impressed by his range. I mean, he can play that deep safety role really well. But last year he was their primary slot guy. as well. And I love that about him because, I mean, the Packers just like to, we all know, anybody's listening to this knows that they like guys with versatility.
Yeah,
He can
Devin
do a little
Lloyd,
bit of everything.
Jaguars.
Yeah. Okay, Devin Lloyd's gone. Jags took him. That means the Packers
says,
on the clock.
Says the Packers pick is in, so.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Goot doesn't mess around.
That's what it says on my app, on the NFL app, so I don't know.
Devin Lloyd played punter in high school. We should have got him for sure.
Double dip. Wow.
That would be great, though. If we can have a linebacker who also is our punter.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
It's like Paul Horning when he was a kicker, right?
Yeah. He's here on the pod.
All right. And those that are joining us, Lombardi's Legends podcast, we are live gearing up. The Packers are on the clock with the 28th pick. Will they go receiver? There's a couple of wideouts left there. Most of them are gone, but there's still a couple talented guys left. A lot of good defensive players as well. We'll find out here shortly. And throw it in the comments too. Who do you want them to take? Or also, how are you feeling tonight? Let us know.
I think a lot of people will tell us in about 1.5 minutes or so, Dan.
Right.
Either it's going to be really good or everybody's going to go. It's one of those two.
Yep.
I'll take the over on time. No way it's in a minute and a half.
No.
That was the quickest pick is in, though.
Yeah. That was 30 seconds.
Not even. It just went up like the 10 minute and then 9.
I'm sticking with Christian Watson as my prediction.
Watson? Okay.
Oh, we'll see here.
We're about to find out.
I'm picking one guy that none of you have said.
Who?
No, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
You take the field. Wow.
Yeah, wow. I know it's they're doing it in Vegas, but you can't take the field like
You're
that on
so
the
brave
podcast.
to me. So brave.
Find out.
Let me know when they're about to actually tell us.
Yeah.
I feel like Mitch already knows.
I wish. I'm on my phone, NFL, and then I got the ESPN from the Hulu package, the draft guys that are basically just podcasters, just like, hey, we're just going to sit here and talk to you guys for 4 hours with not showing anything of the draft. And I'm like, cool. So I'm delayed. I'm delayed about 30 seconds from you guys.
I know who the Packers took. I just saw it on Twitter. I'm not going to say it. But I know who they took.
Dane, you're allowed.
Is it the field? Did Timmy win?
He's smiling, so I'm thinking it's Hill.
Yeah, I think
He's
so.
smiling.
That's good.
Did he call it?
It's not.
Is it a quarterback?
No, it's not. It's not.
Tight end? Offensive line?
We'll find out together on
We'll
TV.
find out here.
Long snapper.
We might. I mean, our first pick. Maybe he's just a big special teams guy. Special teams is an emphasis this year. So
If we spent a first round pick on a special team, I'm going to throw my cup at somebody.
Did you see our special teams?
yeah, he's a special team. What if I told you he was a special teams ace? Then would you be on board?
No, no. We already have one first rounder that's literally causing havoc. That's not doing crap for our team. I don't want a second one.
That tweet was pretty quickly, Dane.
Jordan Love.
Did Goody tweet it right at you or what?
No. But I know who it is.
It's probably Matt LaFleur. He texted him.
Yeah, me and Maddie Ice are best buds.
That's a good contact to have.
Is it wrong that I want to go drinking with that man?
I do too. I have questions.
I don't know. I kind of feel like LaFleur doesn't drink, or if he does, it's just minimal.
No way. He's got to be a rager every once in a while.
He's
Basically be like 5 years older than some of your own players that deal with all those personalities. You got to have somewhat of an alcoholic tolerance.
He'll be drinking champagne in February when we get that next Lombardi. I know that.
Dane, do I need to mute Tim?
Probably.
We're waiting on the pick. We've got viewers on.
We've got some agreement here in the chat from Brian Hartman. He says Watson or Pickens. So he's agreeing with Wagstradamus. Not a bad way to go, I've got to say. And we've got Goodell coming to the stage. Dane, I'll let you break the news here.
I don't have the TV on, so.
All right, are you happy with the pick or no?
I'm okay with it. Yeah,
Okay.
I am. I'm not sure anybody else will be. Though.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm a
That's
huge
all I
homer.
needed. That's all I needed. Was
I'm a
like
homer too, though. Remember,
as long as you got thumbs up, I'm good.
They're showing the fans. Goodell's on stage. Andrew Whitworth is with him. The Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Wait, why is he calling a pick for us?
All right, come on. You did.
They're probably going to say it should have been Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
I might be delayed from a couple of you.
He's still walking up there.
How big of a stage does he walk? Jesus.
Brian Hardman commenting, please, wide receiver, please.
No way.
I don't think it's happening, Brian.
Well, obviously it's not wide receiver now.
We've got a lot of tough people. Like, just announce the draft pick.
Yeah, what? Mine's on mute. What the hell could he be talking about?
Probably where he's going to spend his summer on his $50 million yacht.
He looks like he's been summering already. He's pretty tan.
Oh,
Well, he gets paid like $50 million a year.
No. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner.
Well, yeah, he lives in L.A. He retired. He's a Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
even Rusty is pacing around right now.
Stop talking. Just tell me.
Oh, man, Dan, your tweet really came out.
Here we go. He's done.
All right, I know who they picked too.
Don't say it.
Do you want me to
All I'll
announce it?
say is I was
Hang on, I'm
kind of
watching it
right
live
in
now.
my
It's like
mock
30
draft,
seconds
not
later.
100%, but
Mm-hmm.
not 100% right. But
Are you at least happy with the pick, Wagner?
I'll give you a hint. It's not at a skill position.
Georgia, huh?
Another Georgia Bulldog goes off the board. The Packers have taken Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle from Georgia. I'm curious everybody's opinion. I think he was a consensus first-round guy as far as I'm concerned. He's a 300-pound plus guy who's going to help Kenny Clark tremendously. I think pair him with TJ Slayton, our fifth-round guy from last year, really helps solidify that defensive line position, that kind of potentially missing piece. I actually really like the Devontae Wyatt selection. He's physical. He's nasty. He's quick off the snap. I like it. It's not wide receiver, but he's a guy that can help this defense. The Packers double down on defense, first round this year, 2022 draft. Gentlemen, how are you feeling? Wags.
So, I mean, defensive line was the first position group that we previewed for the draft. And you and I talked then, and Devontae Wyatt was one of the guys we felt like could be their 28th pick. There's a little bit of a school of thought that, yeah, we got Jaron Reed. Why do we need to get a defensive lineman? We've got TJ Slayton from the 5th round last year. He might be ascending. But it's not a shock to me that they went early with defensive line. They needed some help against that run defense still. I averaged 4.7 yards a carry against them last year. So to get a premium guy, honestly, I like Devontae Wyatt better than his teammate Jordan Davis. So it's not a shock to me at all. I think it's pretty good value at this pick. It's not a wide receiver, so we're gonna get the pitchforks out, I guess, because of that. But I think this guy can play. And look, we're loading up on the defense. We could have a really legit top defense next year. Last year, even with some injuries, we had a lot of guys that we're able to step up, and there's no reason to think that we can't even take it to that next level this year with the additions that we've made. So I agree, Dane. I'm excited by the pick, and I'm excited to see what happens in round 2 tomorrow, because I think the Packers are going to be trading. I think they're going to be more aggressive tomorrow, and it's not going to cost them as much draft capital to move around and get exactly the guys that they want in rounds 2 and 3.
And how's everybody else in the group feeling? Anybody who's watching, feel free to drop your comments as well. But how are you guys feeling? Schmitty, Mitch, Timmy, how are you guys feeling about this?
It's hard because it doesn't seem like a need, and it doesn't seem like he was the best player available. But
mute him, Wags. Mute him.
He's entitled to his opinion. I mean, it's not necessarily an immediate need. I agree, but they're always looking a year ahead, right? Because and keep in mind too that the Packers are not a team that likes to spend a lot on the defensive line. So we've got some young guys, but more talent and athleticism on that defensive line group now than I think we've had in a number of years. So you're not wrong, Schmitty, but I think from that perspective, it does make some sense to try to improve the athleticism and overall talent of that group.
How's everybody else feeling?
I think gas prices were really high, and so they took 2 guys from Georgia because they could only make one.
Hot take, T.O. I like that.
No, I think it's a solid pick because I think he's a big upgrade over Lancaster. And Lancaster did some good things, yes, but I think more times than not, he was just a body in there. But I think if you have now, say, Reed or Slatton with Clark and then Wyatt, you get a really good defensive line that can push, especially you have 3 guys over 300 pounds that can basically all rush the pass, basically all rush the quarterback, with, then you have Gary and Preston on the outside, because now with our secondary being as good as it is, we don't need to drop 6 or 7 defensive backs. Now we can load up a little bit more and shore up their run defense, which I can't think of the last time our run defense was top 10, maybe 2014, and that was maybe the second half, if I'm going on the and that's maybe like an educated guess on that part. But I mean, our run defense has not been good in years. So I think that's definitely a solid pick. I mean, nobody likes the big, defensive line or offensive line picks. Nobody loves them because they're not sexy. They're not splash plays, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But like I said earlier, I would rather have 2 or 3 wide receivers that are pretty consistently good as opposed to 1 stud and 3 nobodies. Mm-hmm. Because as we all saw, Aaron Rodgers would lock key on him and just focus on that wide receiver. Because we saw in the playoff game against San Francisco, how many times was Lazard open, Cobb was open, MVS was open, we had other guys open, but he locked on Adams, and they were able to beat us with 4 or 5 guys. San Francisco, their defensive line is amazingly good. They look at guys with 4 defensive linemen able to rush the pass rusher. Flood the back end, you have a really good defense.
Yep.
No,
would you guys be happier if the picks were reversed?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a good question, right? I mean, if they took Walker at 28 and we would have taken Wyatt at 22. No, it's fair. Brian Hardman in the comments, not mad about adding help on the defensive line. Definitely needed help on the line with run defense. Let's find a wide receiver early in the second round. I agree, Brian. I think that's
and keep an eye too. I'm not saying I expect this to happen, but if the Packers are looking at this as an eye to make some more potential moves here before the season, Dean Lowry's still a potential cut candidate. particularly post June 1st, could save him close to $6 million against the cap next season. So they could get some flexibility by letting Dean go, and maybe they bring him into camp and he gets cut at some point, or just kind of see how the injury situation shakes out. So they've got more depth and talent. So that could allow them to get some additional roster flexibility, and maybe get a little bit of relief under the cap. We know they don't have a lot of money to spend, and there's still guys out there that they might be able to trade or target on the fringes as well.
Diana says, welcome to the D train, Wyatt. Larry Steed says, didn't get too excited about 22, but really like Wyatt. So I think that we're starting to see folks trickling in with some promising, opinions of the second pick. I think they will now trade up in the second round and get the receiver they want. Larry follows up with that. So I think that's becoming a bit of a consensus here. I don't expect Packers to trade back into the first tonight, but I think to your point, and I think everybody thinks it, they're going to be active tomorrow. I don't think that they're done. I think that Goody has a plan. So I think this is going to be fun to watch tomorrow night.
I think the wild card is going to be Amari Rodgers, because they said basically throughout the whole year in practice, the dude's a stud. Like, he knows the routes, precision, great hands. But then come game time, it just wasn't clicking. And I think he's going to be definitely – I mean, if he can step up and actually play well, then I don't think the wide receiver position is as desperate or as needy as we all think, because you still have Lazard, you still have Cobb, which, granted, I don't expect any of our wide receivers to have 1,300 yards with 12 touchdowns. But I would love to have four guys with 800 yards and say 6 or 7 touchdowns. I would much rather have that than say one or two guys that are all pros, or whatever, and 4 consistent guys like we did in 2010. Because Jennings, Nelson, Driver, Finley, like all those guys, but none of them were Pro Bowl, none of them were all pro. But our aerial attack was awesome when it was actually clicking.
Yeah, we're not
That's
done.
a great
We're not done at wide receiver.
Correct.
We've got the rest of this draft. Going through a couple more in the chat here. John, thanks for joining here, John. Again, our defense looks pretty good at every position now. We should be able to stop the run where we didn't last year. So I think we're getting some pretty solid feedback here on the Devontae Wyatt pick. Brian, who we were sharing some comments on all evening long. I wouldn't have been able to watch anything about the draft if it wasn't for you all. Thanks, and I appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thanks for jumping on, and thanks for being active in the chat, Brian. You're welcome to join us anytime. So thanks for being part of the program tonight.
And gentlemen, I'm tired. I'm gonna call my shot and say they're not trading back up. I'm going to bed.
Yep.
No, that's already done. But basically, Bengals have already picked. Vikings are on the clock. So
Okay.
Patriots picked the guard Cole Strange from Tennessee, Chattanooga, and the Chiefs picked George Carl
from Purdue.
Edge from Purdue. So go ahead, take care of your little one, get some rest, man.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thanks, everyone, for jumping on.
Appreciate you all. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack.